What is going on, everybody? Welcome to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I am Wingman Steve.
And I am Chris 183, and we are back again for yet another episode in our amazing mini-series, 20 years later, looking at the year 2004. Steve likes to call it a look back. I like to call it an amazing journey through one of the best years in music that I can remember. I love 2004. If I had a time machine, I would go back to 2000. No, I don't know. Maybe I would go back to, I don't know. I haven't thought about that, but
I'd go to 2004 for sure.
Yeah. You wouldn't go to 2003. And then you get both years, you get 3 and 4 together.
I'm trying to think when I turn 21. If I'm going in a time machine, I have to be 21. 2004 to be safe.
Okay. Well, we'll keep that in mind. But ladies and gentlemen, I know that you guys have been really excited about what the next episode in this mini series has to bring. And look, I mean, we're over the moon. This is one that I've been waiting to do for a long time. This is one that I've been talking about for a long time. This is an album that I've had since it came out, the day it came out. And I knew the day that I bought this album that someday, somehow, I'd be able to talk about it with you out there, in addition to the individuals that are with us today. But more on that in just a second. What are we talking about? We're talking about Green Day. We're talking about American Idiot. Oh man, it's going to be so good. So good. But before we get into today's guests and anything else that Steve would like to contribute to the intro, I would like to shout out our patrons that are out there. Hey guys, we have a Patreon with some really cool content. Go check it out if you haven't so far. And our patrons currently are Nick, Sam, Jason, Steve C, not to be confused with another Steve, Ashley, and last but not least, Punkish Dad.
Thank you to the patrons. And Chris, I will chime in here. These guys are chomping at the bit. They want to talk. They want to talk Green Day. They want to talk American Idiot. So let's give a quick introduction first. You guys know him. You love him. He's getting on the list of most invited guests on our show. Tom Kiger from Houston Calls. How are you, sir?
Yeah, there's the SNL list of hosts who have been there. Like Paul Simon's one of them. I can't remember. Steve Martin's probably on there.
Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Thank you. I'm making that list with you all, and I'm pumped to be here. Thankful that you'd invite me back.
You have a green gold jacket, green jacket. Who gives? You've one of those jackets for sure. And not only that, you introduced us to DJ Ross Star, and he comes with a wealth of knowledge. He was telling me before we hit the button here, he hosted a web series. He's talked to every band that we love. I'll let you give yourself a little bit of introduction, but thank you so much for joining us.
Let me tell you guys something really special about Tom up there. I interviewed over 1,000 bands between 2002 and 2017. I'm talking Fall Out Boy, Foo Fighters, Panic at the Disco, AFI, From First to Last, Skrillex. The list goes on, right? There was only 10 or 15 bands at the most that personally thanked me in the liner notes of a record, and Tom and Houston Calls were one of the 15 out of thousands of interviews. So thank you, Tom.
Which record was it? The first one or the second one?
The second one. No, maybe it was the first one. I think it's the first one.
It's probably the first one. Yeah.
So thank you, Tom. I'm going to tell you this for the world to hear.
I love it. A thank you for a thank you. You know, this is a never-ending cycle that we could have. Thank you for thanking me for thanking you.
Yes. And you and I go back and forth. We talk privately whenever there's a new Green Day thing that's happening. So we've already had these conversations through Instagram message, and now we get to have it with Steve and Chris. So this is cool.
That's right. Super awesome.
Just when you think the Tom's level of awesome can't get any higher, he surprises us once again, Tom.
I mean, he brought a beer from backstage and gave it to me so that I didn't have to spend $9 on a beer when I came to see Houston Calls a year ago. So I was like, man, this is a good person.
Amazing.
I appreciate that.
So Steve, we want to talk about this album. We want to get into, I shouldn't say Steve, everybody here. We want to get into American Idiot, but we first, as we normally do, we don't call this out as a segment, but I think it's the best place to start things off is what is our history with this album? And I think it only makes sense for us to start with today's guests. So I don't know. Why don't we, Tom? Do you want to kick it off? What's your history with? I don't want to say Green Day because that could probably take a while, but maybe just this particular album.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the last Green Day album that I bought on the day it came out. Not that I stopped listening at all, but that's kind of a pivotal moment. And I always think of this. This is a very important time in my life when this came out in 2004. So, as being a musician, we had started playing shows in 2003. And so we were really getting into the groove of playing and touring in 2004. So I was very in tune with a lot of the music that was coming out. And to hear a Green Day album was coming out, the prior album was released 4 years ago, 4 years from 2004. So we had Warning in 2000, and then we had a 4-year hiatus. So we were waiting. We had a couple like Shenanigans and other things like that came out. But I was ecstatic. I remember being thrilled and not let down one bit. I just remember it felt like a new era where I think, and I don't know, Ross, if you agree with this, but there was like the 39 Smooth Kerplunk era. Then you got obviously the Dookie wave that played out through probably Nimrod. And then you got Warning that kind of sits on its own. I love the album to death, but it didn't really do anything for fans on a larger level.
Uh-oh.
And then American Idiot just kind of pumped about it.
So much excitement in your response, Tom, that it broke the internet for a second there. But that was awesome. Definitely a cool story. How about you, Ross? What about your entry into this album?
All right. So, short version, I became a fanatic in 1994, like most 11-year-olds. I was lucky enough to get Kerplunk and 39 Smooth the same day I got Dookie, because I went to a local record store on Long Island that my mom drove me to, and the store owner said, "Hey, they have other albums if you want them," trying to push a sale on us. So I was lucky enough to fall in love with 3 Green Day albums the same time all my friends were just falling in love with Dookie. So Insomniac came out, I loved it. Nimrod came out, I loved it. Warning, I didn't love, and I still don't love it. It's really, really, really popular now in the Green Day world to say it's underrated. Oh, it's their best stuff. Some people might really believe that. I think some people are trying to be trendy. I still don't think it is because it's just not my speed, my style of music. So after Warning, there was only about 4 new songs that came out. We had Pop Rocks and Coke, Maria, Ha Ha, You're Dead, and Favorite Son. They were all okay, but nothing that really wowed me. So as soon as I heard American Idiot, the song, when it premiered on the radio, I remember it was August. I was back home in New York visiting my friends, and we were listening to K-Rock, and they played the tail end of the song. And then I was like, wait, this is a new Green Day song. And I remember I called up and I said, "Can you please play it again?" And they aired that clip, and then they played the song again. And when I heard the song American Idiot, I said, Green Day are back. That song for me, I said, this is the Green Day I fell in love with. They have this new energy that I thought was gone for good. And I was just couldn't wait to hear what came next after the single.
That's
How about
awesome.
you, Steve?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to be much different, I think, than the 3 of you guys when it comes to Green Day and American Idiot. And it seems like we're the same age and we grew up on Long Island, Russ. So, when Dookie came out, I didn't get the first 2. Maybe my local record store was not as aggressive. But like most, I fell in love with Dookie. I really liked Insomniac, Nimrod. I liked Warning. I'm not going to say that it was my favorite album or whatever, but I liked it when it came out. And throughout, but by the time 2004 rolls around, I'm real deep into like the pop punky stuff and a little bit of the emo stuff. I've still all about Blink-182 but I'm in on like the Good Charlottes and the Sum 41s and the Newfound Glories and this stuff. And so I definitely got American Idiot when it came out, but I was not like obsessed with it. I was like, this is a good record. And over the years, so many of the singles, a handful of these songs have just become part of our culture. Like when you I listen to Sirius Radio. So there's 90s on 9. There are Green Day's on there all the time. Pop Rocks, they're on there all the time. Even maybe like Lithium or something like that, they pop open. But they're everywhere. These songs are everywhere. They're part of our culture. But here's the thing, and I saw their play, the American Idiot play, not with Billy Joe, but the local traveling one in Philadelphia. And when you make like a concept album, like or a rock opera, whatever, I'll let you guys say what you think it's called. When you make that, there's two ways to go about bring that in my mind. Number one is you deep dive the shit out of it and you learn every single character and how the songs connect to one another. And because I did that, there's this band I love called Ludo, and they have like a 6-song, they have this really awesome rock, and I went down a fucking rabbit hole and I'm like obsessed with it. The other thing is, if you're not paying attention to the continuity of the story, that's kind of where I fit in here, right? So to me, like, I've looked into it, right? I want to hear you guys explain it because it's a cool concept. But I never really got into American Idiot into this story, completely bought in and obsessed with it. So to me, it's a Green Day album that's really good, headlined by a bunch of amazing singles and then some other stuff in the middle, and some tracks that I just don't know as well that I listened to a bunch of times just to freshen up this time. But that's kind of where I land. To me, like, I really like this album, but it's not like my favorite Green Day album. I will give that it is iconic. It deserves all the sales. It deserves all the praise. And again, if you get into that like storyline, then I bet you appreciate it more probably than I do. So to me, this is a very good Green Day album.
Do you mind if I go first, Tom, this time?
Oh, Chris has got to say what he thinks first.
Go ahead, Ross, if you want to say something.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Before. Yeah, you're up.
Okay. I was lucky enough to see the musical with Billy Joe in it.
Nice.
I flew back to New York just to see it. And it was amazing because you have these trained Broadway singers, and then you have this punk rock singer, and I thought he blew everybody away vocally. I'm not just being biased because it's him. I thought he sounded better than everybody in that show. But besides that, so for me growing up, which I feel like a lot of people may feel this way, it always seemed like Billy Joe, when he was writing songs, it almost seemed like I would joke that he was like reading my diary or like had a hidden camera in my room, because it seemed like I could relate to like almost literally everything he was singing about. So when American Idiot came out, it was the first time he was telling a story. So it wasn't just like, I am the Grouch or I am a Brad or whatever. It was this whole other, like you said, concept record. But to me, especially at that age, I was 22, 23, I was still listening to it lyrically in a way where I was still finding bits and pieces to relate to my life. So I wasn't, thinking about it as this concept story and focusing on A to B. I was more just thinking, oh, that sounds like what I'm going through, or this is kind of like what I experienced last week at college, So it hooked me in because I wasn't just thinking exactly of what he was talking about. It was more like, how does this relate to me and what can this inspire me to do?
I feel like that's like, you guys, you did a really nice job breaking that down. I'm not as deep with this, but I mean, I could probably just get on here and say, yeah, it was good, and then move on to what Tom has to say next. But I have a little bit more to say. So look, this brought me back into Green Day. I'll just make a long story short. And I was a super fan. 94 with Dookie. I went backwards. I picked up Kerplunk, and I could never find 39 Smooth. No one had it. So I had to buy the compilation, the 1039 Smooth Out Slappy Hours, which is fine. It has good stuff from that album on it. And I love those two. And I continued on. Insomniac's probably one of my, if not my favorite Green Day album. A spoiler. And then for some reason or another, Nimrod did not end up in my possession. Can you believe that? My parents bought that for my brother. So I did not own Nimrod. And then I stopped listening to Green Day because he had that. And I wasn't allowed. I could grab his CDs and listen to them. He wasn't going to do anything, but I just didn't. And so Warning, I skipped. Shenanigans, I skipped. But this one I picked up, and it was just instantaneous. It was that feeling similar to what you said, Ross. It was just, it felt like what it used to feel like when you listen to Green Day. It brought back so much, and it wasn't necessarily about the message or the lyrics. I wanted to sing the lyrics. I wanted to be into these songs, but it was the music that pulled me back in. It's undeniable what they were able to do with the music on this album. It's not for me like front to back. Every single song is amazing. It's not that. Like, there's some songs that I don't love as much, but the ones that I do, it just carries the entire album for me. So we'll get into what that looks like one by one. But I remember, because back in 04, like, I was out of college, but still used to go up and visit friends of mine that were still in college, about 45 minutes away from where I live. And for those first couple trips after I got this album, like, I turned this on in my car stereo, and I was like, I gotta play this for everybody that I can find. Like, they have to listen to these songs. And that's just what I did. And some loved it, some didn't. But I continued to make sure people knew all about American Idiot that didn't know at the time. Now everybody knows. I mean, it's probably one of the most played Green Day albums out there, but it's amazing. So that was my journey into this album specifically from the beginning.
Go ahead.
Oh, something to add? Are you talking to me?
Oh, no. You were pointing, Russ.
I was pointing at Tom.
Tom's below me.
Everybody's
Tom's
got
above, Tom's above me.
I'm in a different spot. No, I mean, I can respond to the kind of the story that you were talking about, Steve. I think I did not gravitate towards the story. I think it's similar to Ross. I was just a huge fan of the band from 1994 on, and when it came out, I kind of wasn't even paying attention to the concept or the whole storyboard that was being played out. I just loved the songs. I just wanted to hear the stuff, and like Ross said, a lot of the lyrics spoke to me, a lot of things in there, and it was that classic Green Day sound again. And I don't even know if you are gonna get into this, but the story about the album that was written and then stolen, and it's like, well, what the heck happened there? Is that all made up? I mean, Ross, you probably got a lot of thoughts about that, but there was like, hey, we had this album warning. Ross is not a fan, so clearly, like, it's not hitting the Green Day, fans as it should. And then they come back with this, and it's just complete.
How do you get your album stolen and then be like, oh, I'm going to start from scratch, and then put out American Idiot?
Put out this like 10 million, 50 million album, like selling album. Like, yeah, it's unbelievable how that works out. I think that might be just kind of a fairy tale story just to make it sound really cool. I don't know for sure, but
I never heard that story. I never heard that.
Yeah, Chris, they apparently had written a full album and recorded most of it. Ross, I don't know, you have to fill in some gaps, or Steve, if you know, but they'd recorded an album maybe a year or two prior to American Idiot coming out. The master tapes were stolen, and they had no way of finding them or getting anything, and they didn't want to start from scratch. So I think they were just like, screw it. We're just going to start from scratch, write a whole new album now. Maybe this is a sign from above.
All right, I'll stop you right there. That was the lore for many years, but now that the American Idiot Deluxe came out, they actually had a whole interview. They had a whole interview in the booklet about this. They actually did have the record done. They finally admitted this in the booklet that came out a couple months ago. They presented it to Rob Cavallo and the people at Warner, and they said, "Is this the best you can do? We'll release this, but we think you can do better." So that's what happened. So they went back and they tried to do, make better songs. And if you listen to these American Idiot demos that just came out, a lot of the songs don't mention Jimmy and they don't mention What's Her Name, because those were the songs before they incorporated a story. So a lot of these songs we now think were from Cigarettes and Valentines, the stolen record, and they just redid them to make them into a story. And if you listen to a few of them, like the old Letter Bomb demo, it almost sounds like the Warning style of singing. So you can tell they were a little bit older than some of the newer American Idiot tracks. So I just think that the label said, hey, Warning didn't do that well. We don't know if this is going to do that well either. Try again, which is like, imagine how ballsy you are in the position you are at Warner Records to tell Green Day do better. But that's what they did. But that's what they did, and it worked. So good for Warner Brothers for telling them that.
It ended up working out for sure. I mean, Chris, do you want? I was going to get in a couple of quick stats about the record.
No, that's where I was going to go. Is let's get into stats.
Yeah, so it did pretty well. It came out September 21st in the year 2004. So in the United States, it sold 7.2 million copies, but worldwide, it sold 23 million copies. So the RIAA has it at 6 times platinum. You mentioned, Ross, it was produced by Rob Cavallo and Green Day. The album was #1 on the Billboard 200 in the US and also in 18 other countries. It scored a Best Rock Album Grammy, and then, of course, inspired a Broadway musical, which not only was on Broadway but toured, and it was really cool. I enjoyed it a whole lot.
And let me just throw in really quick about Rob Cavallo and why he's the missing piece to Green Day. Warning, he was actually going to produce the record, and he didn't like the songs that much either. And so they pretty much said, well, we don't want you. We're going to produce it ourselves. And that's why if you look at Warning, it says produced by Green Day, and then it says like with special help from Rob Cavallo. He didn't like Warning either. He said these songs aren't that great either. So they just went and did it without him.
I had to go back and look at the track list for Warning. I got to remember. I got to be.
Come on, Castaway's a hit. That song is awesome.
Some of the songs were much better live on the Warning tour and the Pop Disaster tour. They played them a bit faster. So I did enjoy like Church on Sunday live, Castaway live. Just the album just sounds like the recording is not that great, in my opinion.
I don't even remember the last time I listened to that album. I can't remember. I'm not even sure that I listened to it in full.
I'm looking at all the tracks here. It doesn't. Not that many of them ring a bell, to be honest with you.
No, they probably don't. It's just like they took the guitars and just went to the gain knob and just lowered it to like 1, and that was pretty much it. So there wasn't any power behind the guitar, and I mean obviously that was purposeful, and it works in a couple songs, but I think for the Green Day style, it doesn't necessarily work in most of those songs.
You need the big guitars. You need that big sound coming in.
Yeah.
I almost feel I love Minority though, and I feel like Minority was like the beginning of what led to American Idiot making a song like that. Like that was like step 1 into progressing into the style that they became.
I could totally see that. I think that track fits direct. That could be on here.
Mm-hmm. Good call.
So I got 2 things for you guys. Number 1, I'm going to need you to help me understand who these characters are that they continue to talk about. So as we go through this song by song, I will have questions because Chris 183 from all the way back in 2004 to now never really thought about this, never really asked anybody, never really understood who these characters are, who's St. Jimmy, who is the Jesus of Suburbia, what is what's her name, how does it all connect, and what's the story. So I'm going to depend on one of you guys to fill me in.
I think the album and the play are 2 different things. So I usually just base the story off of the play because they expand on some of the characters that the album doesn't.
And the play, it's not, the songs are not in order. And there are more songs, I believe, than just this album, right?
Yeah, they took some from 21st Century. They took a couple of B-sides.
Yeah, because it's been I don't know, several years, 5 or 6 years since I think I saw it pre-COVID. So that was a while ago.
Biggest mistake they made is not releasing that on a DVD, the actual performance.
That would be
but I mean,
awesome.
Even outside of the musical, which I didn't see, I'm not the biggest fan of musicals. I just don't want to watch them. That's just my personal preference. But besides that, like I'm sure it's great for all of you out there that love that stuff, but they're trying to tell a story here, though, right? These characters mean something here. So I will ask you guys as we move along what those things mean to you or what they mean in real life.
Okay.
But before we get to that, we're going to do something very special. Ross, you've never been a part of this. Tom, you have. This is a game we like to play to kind of kick things off. Well, we've already kicked it off, but we're going to re-kick it off here. This is a game called What Are the Top 5 Songs on Spotify in terms of streams? Not necessarily in order, but what I'm looking at right now on the screen, despite what Steve says about the order of it. So that's the segment we're going to play now. So what we do is we go one by one, and you guys gotta guess the top 5. You get 3 strikes. Okay,
of any Green Day album or
this is any Green Day album.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, I got number 1.
So let's get the order back here. So Tom, do you want to kick it off with number 1?
You might have had this on Jeopardy.
3 strikes.
Basket Case is number 1.
That is correct, and
I agree. Yeah.
that had 1,207,000,000 and some change streams.
I got number 2 for you.
Well, we have to go around the horn.
Dang it.
So Ross, you're up next.
Oh, Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
That is number 3 on this list at 901 million, almost 902 million streams. So we got 1 and 3. We need 2, 4, and 5.
Man,
Steve,
this is a lot of pressure. I don't be the first one to screw up. I'm going to go with the titular track, "American Idiot."
that is number 2.
Really?
Never doubt the titular track.
Huh.
This is 1,065,000,000 and some change streams.
Wow.
So now we just need number 4 and number 5, and this is where it gets a little bit tougher.
Yeah, this is tough. Oh gosh, I have a feeling it's going to be. There's a couple I'm toying with. Like "When I Come Around" is going to be up there, and I think "Wake Me Up When September Ends" is going to be up there.
What is your guess?
I'm going to go with "Wake Me Up When September Ends."
Incorrect. That's actually strike 1.
Dang.
Strike 1, Tom.
Sorry, Tom. I had a feeling that you were wrong here.
No, it's totally fair.
I'm going to go with Longview.
Unfortunately, that's strike 2.
Wow. Okay.
Strike 2.
Oh man, it all rests on my shoulders. I was going to say Longview, actually.
Bottom of the 9th, Steve. 2 outs. 2 strikes.
Let's think about this. Well, Basket Case was 1, right?
I'll give you a recap. So we had Basket Case number 1, American Idiot number 2, and Boulevard of Broken Dreams number 3.
How about Minority?
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. That is 3 strikes, guys. Tom, you are going to kick yourself because number 4 was
When I Come Around.
When I Come Around.
Oh.
So you said it, but you didn't go with it. You didn't go with your gut on that one. And number 5,
Holiday.
you guys are all going to kick yourself. It's Good Riddance.
Oh, jeez. How did we forget that one?
On every single graduation mixtape out there for a long time. So that's the top 5. You guys did pretty good. I wouldn't say, look, this is tough because you're talking about a billion songs to really go off of. A lot of them are good, a large percentage of these songs to be on this list. So that was a tough one. Nice job.
Thank you.
All right. You guys want to get into American Idiot, the album? Do this track by track?
Let's do it.
All right. Who should kick this off, Chris?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're going to let me kind of kick it off with we call it the titular track. My notes on this are go ahead and free flow as much as you want because I've probably listened to this song, I don't know, maybe as many times as it's been streamed, like over 1 million times. I don't know how you make a song like this that is so truly iconic in so many ways. That initial guitar, it's just the way that he put that together. I don't know if Billy Joe knew like he was building a song that could stand the test of time pretty much forever. This is a song that pretty much anybody that's even remotely into this kind of music can get into and nod their head to and tap their toe. Man, I mean, this song has everything. It has energy. It has an amazing melody. Some just outstanding guitar work in this song. Billy Joe is just bringing you back to the crux of what makes Green Day amazing in this song. I mean, the only thing about it is, and I'm self-professed, not necessarily that into listening to a ton about politics and that sort of thing. I know a lot of people are. I don't get into that personally. So like that part of it doesn't appeal to me, but the song is so good, it doesn't really matter. Like, and the other thing about it is that the song itself, and I don't know, it's probably just Billy Joe's delivery and the way he sings, or the fact that I had history with his band as much as I did, but you want to sing along to every single word. It's that good. So I think that they hook you hook, line, and sinker with this intro track. And for those people like me that moved away from Green Day, I guarantee that the lion's share of them were brought back just because of this intro track, American Idiot. So we'll kind of go around, and Tom, you're the first one I see. So Tom, why don't you take it from here?
I love the song. It's obviously a great opener. The part that you were talking about, Chris, he's got a knack for writing these really simple chord progressions that somehow can carry themselves. If you listen to a lot of the older albums, like a lot of the quote unquote solo time is just him playing the chords of the song. And I don't know why it works, but it works so well. And this one is no exception. The da 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 da. There's just something so memorable about that. And there's something incredible about, I don't even know what this is called. I know I play guitar, but there's that thing. It's like, I think he slides the pick over the strings at the very edge, and it makes that sound that the drums kind of kick in with, that hit with. It's so beautiful and orchestrated. It's the one thing about this song, and I love when it kicks into the chorus. I love that chord when we finally hit that note, but it sounds kind of separate from the rest of the album to me. It doesn't. I mean, sonically, yes, it sounds the same. The guitars are the same, but there's something about it that it's not part of the story. It's not, it doesn't have the characters in it. It's just like, hey, we have this title track. We got this thing going on, and we know it's a single. It's the only way we can get this album to the masses is by having this one song that is so easily consumed, and then we'll get everybody to see how good this album is. So I love the song, but I think, as we go through this, there are some, deeper cuts that I absolutely love way more.
Ross,
Cool.
you go ahead.
I agree. I don't think that record labels always choose the best first single. For example, I don't really think Hitching a Ride should have been the first single from Nimrod, but it was. I don't really think Geek Stink Breath should have been the first single from Insomniac, but it was. But American Idiot was the right first single. And I was not political at all in 2004. I was just out of college. I couldn't tell you anything about, what I was thinking when I was that age, but it wasn't about politics. And so I get the message now that the media sells you fear. It's, more now than ever. So I understand the message 20 years later. But at the time, no, I didn't care what political party he was dissing or, the big words he was using. I just cared about, like he said, the melody and wanting to sing along to it. So great opening track from somebody that did not care. And a lot of my friends back then said, oh, how could you like pop punk and not like politics? I know a lot of punk bands just sing about politics, but that wasn't anything that I ever listened to, before this.
Yeah, I also don't necessarily need politics in my music. And listen, I'll say whether or not you get into the nuance or the message of this song or even of this album, like this song in particular just still kicks ass. I mean, it's catchy, it's fun, it's just as anthemic as a Long View or a Basket Case. 20 years later, we see another resurgence of this with the political cycle and him changing the lyrics a little bit and making some people real happy and some people real pissed off. To me, one of my favorite parts is just that instrumental breakdown after that second chorus, because I don't necessarily think that there's anything like super complicated in it, but like you can just like feel that and remember it. Like you don't even have to think about it. You get it. And there's not a whole lot of like musical breakdowns, like the stuff in between verses and choruses that you remember so well. And that was one thing that stood out to me about it. So yes, very good choice for the single. Tom, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, I agree with you that maybe it doesn't fit that story as well, but I think it's still, I don't know. No, maybe it doesn't really fit the whole thing. I mean, they made it work in the play. I can't think about it in the story of just the record because I'm not that smart about it.
I just want to add really quick. I don't know if he had help lyrically, but now that the 20th anniversary is out, they have an actual American Idiot alternate version. It has completely different lyrics that they recorded for that song, and the lyrics are terrible. So I don't know how he went from that to the one that we know now, but it's really fun and interesting to listen to the original song and then hear the one that they went with. Just night and day, in my opinion.
He was scared the record label was going to shit on him again. He's like, I got to fix this up. I can't go into that meeting.
the music's the same, but the lyrics are completely different. It's so weird to hear it, but that's what I love about these demos coming out now.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't get into listening to them. I saw that it came out, but that's a lot of time to devote to listening to extra stuff. So I didn't get into it personally.
There's a lot on there, yeah, but it's all good.
Steve, hold on real quick, Tom. So to your original point about this not fitting in with the rest, like I see it as, wouldn't it be, so the commentary here, as Ross said, it's about selling fear in the media, and where, the American idiot is playing into it. Does that not connect at all with Jesus of Suburbia? Isn't a Jesus of Suburbia supposed to be some kind of iconic force that draws people of that demographic? I don't know how you want to put it, into whatever it is that, that the Jesus of Suburbia wants them to be drawn into. And wouldn't that tie back to the theme of American Idiot? That's the way I always saw it. I don't know if that makes sense, or maybe I'm way off, but
this is a deep interview, Chris. I've never really even thought about it in this much detail until today. So thank you for this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I like the connection that you're making too. I never went that direction, but I think you could make a case for it. Definitely. I feel the way I feel because it seems like this one is very, like you all said, it's obviously very political, and everything else doesn't really reference anything as political. And it's more of the storytelling. And this one is just done from the, hey, I've got these opinions on this thing and I'm going to write this song about it. So I think lyrically, that's why it felt separate. Message wise, I see where you're going, and you can make that, you can draw those parallels to the rest of the album. So I'm cool with that.
In my opinion, I think that American Idiot and Holiday are the only two actual political songs on the record, in my opinion, like strictly political, but we can get into that as the songs go on.
Singles, right? The singles.
In general, it's just lyrically, especially Holiday, but we'll get up to that after we get up to track 2.
All right. Well, look, kick it off. This, I'll tell you what, like, this is one we're going to spend some time on, I bet, because there is so much to unpack on this one. The next track is Jesus of Suburbia. And Steve, why don't you kick us off on this one?
Yeah. So, I mean, when you take a look, on Spotify, or a lot of these on Spotify, they they mash the tracks together. So not this one, but Holiday and Boulevard of Broken Dreams. It's just kind of annoying. Like, because what if you want to listen to one of them? You gotta fast forward. Anyways, the song is like an over 9-minute song, but that's really not being fair, because it's really like 5 different songs that are just put together in one song. Very, to me, like, I don't know, Bohemian Rhapsody, scenes from an Italian restaurant, where you're kind of taking all these different concepts and smash. I feel like we could go and do each one of these parts as its own thing. But there's, the Jesus of Suburbia part in the beginning. I really like the kind of start stop cadence of the verses. I think the verses, to me, actually overshadow the chorus. I like the verses in this part better. There are the oohs that make it kind of church chorus like a little bit. The second part of it, the City of the Damned, they add in the piano, really cool. I think the chorus in that one, I liked it better than the chorus in the first part. Then you have your punk anthem part, your, I don't care. And it's, when we hear him he does this megaphone thing a bunch of times in this record. It's an interesting choice. I don't even know what to call the dearly beloved part. You actually kind of feels like the song is over, and then it goes into that part. And then, the final part, they call it Tales of Another Broken Home. I feel like it kind of calls back to the I don't care part a little bit. The ending ends really strong. It slows down and then just kind of bursts back in at the very end. The song is just a journey. It's a journey. It's 5 songs in a single song. And I like.
Very cool. Yeah.
It's nice.
Ross?
Wow. Oh my goodness. How do you explain a song like that in a couple of minutes or seconds? Okay, so there's moments in my life where I've been brought to tears by a song. I don't know if you guys are man enough to admit that, but a month before
I cried at the Blink-182 concert, so
there you go. So a month before the album came out, I had a friend that was working for the marketing for the record, and he let me hear 5 songs ahead of time in his car: American Idiot, Jesus, Holiday, Boulevard, and Wake Me Up. And when we got to the Dearly Beloved part, I actually was brought to tears. I just the melody, his voice, the way he sings that part of the song, phenomenal. I still get chills every time I see him do it live. I love the song. Without going into detail, lyric by lyric, I know Chris wants to know more about the story. I would say basically to sum it up really briefly, he's just a guy from a small town and he wants to move to the big city. He's over small town life. That's basically what he's saying in a 9-minute song. I'm leaving, I'm going to the city. If you don't want to come with me, then don't, phenomenal song. It's hard to go in order of an album. I don't usually do this, but Homecoming, which is later in the record, is the other 9-minute song. And I think that one is actually superior to Jesus of Suburbia. So I was extremely happy they brought it back this summer for the tour, Homecoming.
I kind of think about how you piece together a song like this. And in songwriting world, where you've got all these ideas, it's really cool how it works. I absolutely love this track. And Ross, I love that you called out Dearly Beloved. That part is so beautiful. And historically, through all the Green Day albums, I used to read all these old Green Day message boards within the inception of the internet, early 90s, mid 90s time, where people would always talk about how his voice sounded for certain lyrical deliveries. Like there's a couple of standout parts in every album. And I always think about that. I usually think about it in terms of each song on this album. And I really like the City of the Dead part when he sings that part at the end of Another Lost Highway. When he does that, I'm just like, there are moments when he delivers lyrics. It doesn't matter what he's saying. I don't even care what he's saying, but I completely am just lost in it. And that's one of them. And there are a number of them to follow on this album. But it is just, the start of the song, like, come on, just like hitting in with those hits right there after you've got this like wild American Idiot, just like it's like and there's that drum part. That's one of my favorite parts when Trey has those drum fills, like that part. Ah, gosh, it is such a simple song to play. Like the chords are so not complicated. There are just a couple. That's obviously, people would criticize them in the past for that, but as a songwriter, I'm amazed by how you can create such a masterpiece with so few chords and such little complication and complicated parts, I guess to say. So I love the track. I agree with Ross that Homecoming is superior. I love that song even more, but this is a masterpiece.
And I'll say, I'll give you homework, Steve, when we're done tonight. If you go back on again to iTunes and listen to the American Idiot 20th anniversary, you'll see a couple of songs on there that you don't recognize. And those are actual parts of Jesus of Suburbia that were at one point their own full songs. So there's like a whole 2-minute song called Low Life that became Dearly Beloved. And it's phenomenal on its own as its own song.
Is it okay if I do that homework on Spotify? Because that's what I subscribe to.
Either one, sure.
It's there. Hey, wait, Chris, before you share, can I say one last thing about that song? I'm sorry.
You can, yeah.
I hadn't listened to this song or this album in headphones ever. And as I was listening to, prep for this, I listened to it a couple times in my headphones. You hear so many different things, but I got really fixated, especially on this song, on the pick slides. And they're not really pick slides, they're just like he'll run his finger down the E string from top to bottom, and it's kind of like a transition he uses it as. I started tallying it in this song. It is over 35 times, which is unreal for the number. Go back and listen to it. You'll start picking up on the barrel, like every transition. It was wild to me to think how I hadn't noticed that. It doesn't bother me, but it is an unusual amount of times to be doing that.
It bothers me on Hitching a Ride. You can hear the slide, the whole song.
Yeah, the evolution of this band is just astounding. Like you think about where they started, and that was great stuff. It was awesome in its own right, but it was very raw, very early. And then getting to this part, I think this song is the one that really kind of knocked it into my head that, man, this this band is another level now. Like they've gotten to another level of something. And you're right. It's the songwriting. It's the being able to weave, 4 to 5 songs together into one track that, as Steve said, brings you on an adventure or a journey that never gets boring, never gets old, continues to keep your attention, is not just all one tempo. It goes up and down, different melodic compositions. Love that. My favorite part is what you brought up when they get to the city of the dead. I always go back to that part. I just, something about the way that he sings that continues to bring me back. It's so unique, so outstanding, but so is the rest of the song. Even the first structure of the first section, where the lyrics are sung in a way where it's a segment, it's a section on a steady diet of, and then he comes back with soda pop and Ritalin. Like there's a pause there. It's really, really cool the way that he delivers these lyrics. And it instantly hooked me into this song. I do think this is an awesome song. I do think it's better than Homecoming. This to me is like top 5 Green Day songs. Like this, there's so many good things to like about this track. And you don't remember, this is another reason why I think it's amazing. You don't remember that it's 8 minutes and 57 seconds. Probably more than that, actually. 9 minutes and 8 seconds to be more exact. That doesn't even, never crosses my mind. If anything, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think it's long enough. I want more. I want more of this track. It ends too soon for me in a lot of ways. So many good things about this one. I could not believe it. After listening to American Idiot and getting to this song, I could not believe what I was listening to. Sometimes I even skip American Idiot to come to this song because I like it so much. So
I can see that.
The last thing about it is the Jesus of Suburbia. I love your guys' take on who that is, Ross. I think it might have been you that brought up what your thoughts of that was, unless that was proven or said by Billy Joe. I just, why, and if that is what it is, if that's what this quote unquote Jesus of Suburbia truly is, why are they giving him the name Jesus of Suburbia? Like, what is the reason for that? Is he some kind of like false quote unquote prophet, or is there a tie to that somehow, or a symbolism of what that means?
Maybe he just wants you to follow him to the big city because he's going and he wants you to come with him. He's going to lead you to a better life.
Do you get that? Like the savior of what though? Like what? Who is he saving?
Having a boring life in suburbia in the middle of New Jersey. He's taking you to the big city to have some fun.
So he's like an inspiration for others. Then basically is what they're trying to say.
That's what I think of it as. At least like going back to the musical. That's what the beginning of the musical is. He's tired of where he lives and he wants more out of life. So he wants to go to the city. He lives in the middle of small town life.
And I think Billy Joe's always been pretty vocal about being tongue in cheek with religion, and I think that kind of works in this, plays out in this Jesus of Suburbia title as well. God's favorite band, those sorts of things. They've always made poked a lot of fun in that realm. So,
one more question for you guys: do you think when he says "City of the Dead" at the end of Another Lost Highway, is he talking about a specific city?
Could be any city, I think. That's the point. And 99% of the people listening to it are like, that's my city. And that's why Green Yard Jesus.
Okay.
It's probably in California, though, right? It's got to be somewhere in California.
Well, probably Rodeo.
I think nowadays San Francisco is the city of the dead.
Well, he grew up in Rodeo, which was in the middle of nowhere, near Oakland, near the Bay Area. So he's probably talking about growing up in Rodeo. Yeah.
Maybe Bayside, California.
Maybe.
Bayside High.
Mm-hmm. Hey, one last thing on this song. Sorry, this is a big song. Sorry, Chris, but
it's keep going. Plus, let's talk about this song for the next 2 hours. I don't care.
Well, no,
I want to talk about it.
I think I'm going to add a lot of commentary from being a musician and that perspective, and thinking about a 9-minute song. I just thought about teaching like someone else this song. Like, okay, this is where this part changes. But like teaching someone a 2 or 3 minute song is complicated enough. but having someone remember all of the parts for a 9-minute song, I know they performed this thing front to back, like played this song. That always kind of blows my mind to be able to pull that off really well. I know they are a seasoned group that can pretty much pull off anything live at this point, but it is really impressive to think about that and to play it flawlessly. And Ross, I'm sure that you've seen this multiple times, but every time I've seen it performed, anytime, it's awesome. It's just like it was on the record. So, I mean,
I'm laughing because I saw them do their cover-ups show in 2019 at the Tiki Bar in Orange County, and it was Tré Cool's birthday, so he was there also. Usually you won't see Tré or Mike at a cover-up show, but they were there because it was his birthday. So they got up and did a bunch of Green Day songs, and they were all really drunk because it was Tré's birthday party. And it was the sloppiest, slowed down version of Jesus of Suburbia I've ever heard. But that also made it more fun because it was something different, and they were all laughing at each other for making mistakes during it.
Oh my God.
That wouldn't happen at a stadium show. They would never mess up.
I would love to see that. I wish somebody got that on tape somewhere.
I sure do. I'll send it to you. It's on YouTube.
Please. Yeah. No, that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, look, Tom, don't apologize. We could talk about this song forever because there's so many good things to talk about here. But I think we probably want to move on to the next track. And actually, I was going to bring up one more thing, but I forgot what it was. So maybe later if I remember. But Holiday, the next song is a two-parter again, in the same vein as, do you know where I'm going with this? Jaded and Brain Stew. Was that the first time they did that? Jaded, Brain Stew, or did they do that prior to that?
Brain Stew, Jaded, you mean?
Yeah, Brain Stew, Jaded. Yeah.
No, that was the first. That was the first time they'd gone from one song to the next. Yeah, and nothing makes me more angry to this day than when you hear Brain Stew on the radio and no Jaded after. And they still do it.
They don't do it. Yeah, they don't. I don't know why they don't do it. I guess they just don't feel like, maybe it's just too long for a radio play. I don't know.
If it's like after like 10 p.m., they'll do it, but during the day, they won't do it.
All right. So who wants to kick us off for this next one, which is Holiday, and the quote unquote lesser known, which is a lie, Boulevard of Broken Dreams?
Are we combining it?
Let's combine them into one track. Yes.
Combine it, Ross. Take it.
Wait. Okay. So I think out of all the biggest hits, Holiday is still my favorite one to see live. I'm talking like Basket Case, like When I Come Around, all that stuff. But I think Holiday is still the best one live. Still gets me excited. I still love hearing it. Again, I think it's the most political song. I think Billy Joe got a thesaurus and a dictionary when he was writing that one. A lot of terms that I 100% did not understand when I was 22 years old. Maybe I should have, but I just did not know a lot about that world. But again, I think it's a fun song if you don't analyze it lyric by lyric, unless you want to and think about it from that angle. Musically, from the musical itself, from the storyline, that's the beginning of them getting ready, or him getting ready to go to the city. You know, like he's getting ready and he's going starting to party, I guess. But I love that song. I'd want them to play it at every show I go to. Tom.
We're the Holiday Boulevard of Broken Dreams combo. I mean,
I figured we'd do Holiday first, then go back around. But I guess we can do it together. You want to do it together?
Yeah, do it together.
Do it together, yeah.
I think Boulevard of Broken Dreams is probably one of the best songs he's ever written, ever. And I usually don't really like slower songs. I think that was, if you look at, I feel like that was their last mega hit. They've had radio singles and they've had some success. Like after that, with Wake Me Up When September Ends and Still Breathing and Know Your Enemy. But I think Boulevard was the last like mega hit that they'll still play like the grocery store in 50 years from now. I loved everything about it when I heard it. Another song for me, like Jesus of Suburbia, where I was like brought to tears. I couldn't believe this was like my hero singing a song that he wrote that sounded this way. And I know he had actually moved to New York at this point. He actually had almost cost him his marriage. He talked about that in Behind the Music, and he was just out there in New York City one night taking a walk, felt really alone, and so he wrote that song about it. And that's how it fits into the album, where now Jesus of Suburbia is walking alone, and he went to this big city and he thought it was going to be great, and so far it's not that great, and he's kind of kind of sad and lonely. And I think a lot of people can relate to that, and I love that song. And then I think, of course, like Brain Stew, Jaded, I don't want to hear Holiday without Boulevard after it. No way.
All right. Why don't Tom, you want to follow that up?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I have this issue, and this is my own personal issue, of course, where when there's songs on the radio for Green Day, especially a band that I hold so close in my heart, I sometimes just like push back and say, oh gosh, like after Dookie, of course, because that was where I discovered them. I heard them Dookie, so I was only able to hear the songs on the radio at first. But for Holiday and Boulevard, like Holiday, I think is a good song. I think it's a great song. It wasn't one that I connected with. It wasn't one that I got really excited about. I mean, I love the guitars. I love everything about it, but it didn't give me the feels. But when I heard Boulevard of Broken Dreams, it was the opposite of that, where I got really into it and I loved it when I first got the album. And then later on it became a single and it made me not like it anymore. It was one of those situations where you're like, okay, I knew this song. This was like, I thought it was a deeper cut and I was getting ahead of the curve. And then it became a single. Steve, why are you looking at me like that? What is that?
I'm just taking it in.
Oh, okay. And so I always loved that song. And Ross, I think you're right. It's one of their best slower songs. I always thought of the Pinhead Gunpowder song, I Walk Alone. I think that was that. Yeah. And so I always thought, oh my gosh, it's probably like pulling influence from that. And that was really cool. And I think Boulevard of Broken Dreams is an unbelievable song. It is so beautiful. The acoustic guitar sounds incredible. Like, I mean, this whole album sonically is unbelievable. I think I read a stat. It cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to create this album. Maybe it was over $500,000. I don't know if anyone found that and some research, but so much money. It's obviously apparent in the production of the album, but it's clearly a hit and some of their best work ever for a slower song.
I think they might have made the money back.
Agreed.
You think so?
I definitely, yeah. I mean, they at least broke even, Chris. They're doing okay.
They're doing
just fine.
Yeah.
Billy Joe's getting by. Yeah.
It made me money. They made money from me buying everything they've ever created for 30 years, all the merch.
You know, I can't believe this is such a good. I can believe it, but what a great duo here. These two songs, the contrast between the two. I'll tell you what, like coming off of the high for me personally of Jesus of Suburbia, listening to this in the car or anywhere else that I would listen to a lot in the car at that time, I would again look forward to Holiday coming on next. This is a song that for some reason listening to this album, sometimes I would just forget about it. And then when I'd come back to it, I'd be like, damn, that's amazing. Like I love the way that transitions into another great tune that's different in a lot of ways. I mean, this, you got to love that swing back and forth sound of the Holiday, you know, just musically, sonically. I'm going to use that from now on, Tom. You gave me a new word. I love that. Thank you. But the iconic riffs in this one, the powerful chorus structure of the song, the lyrics are memorable. This is all amazing Holiday, especially when, you know, he starts getting into that chorus, like the words, the beg to dream and differ. That's amazing to me. Like I sing that every single time. And yes, it is political. When do you think Billy Joe decided that he was going to be so political? Do you think he was sitting at breakfast one day and just was reading the paper and started thinking to himself, like, you know what? Like I really like talking about geek stink breaths and gross things and stuff on Longview, like that's kind of stuff. But I think I'm going to transition into political activism in my songs now. What do you think that happened?
When he wrote Minority, I think I said that earlier. That's what I think.
There
that
you
was
go.
The first time he said, "Oh wow, I'm writing a song about being an individual and thinking for yourself."
All right, so there it is. Mark it down.
Chris,
yeah,
I don't know.
No, I think it's a cool thought to think about the transition. But I think any young punk, you know, who's rebellious and doesn't think about maybe the bigger picture at a younger time in their life when they start getting older, And especially if you're a musician, a prolific musician such as he is, that you start to reconsider what you're writing lyrics about, and you probably become more passionate about fighting the system in a more adult way. And I think that's probably how it was that's why it feels so good to me. It seems like a natural transition and evolution that occurred with this band. Like it doesn't feel forced at all. It just feels like, okay, you got into your 30s now, you started thinking about politics. Well, that makes sense. That tracks with kind of where I am on my trajectory as a human being and how most people are as they get to adulthood. And you do it in a really in a way that I can relate to, and in a kind of not dumbed down but simple way for the simpletons like myself.
And I think when you get to a certain age and you realize that you have a voice that's powerful, like there are so many people that are listening to you. I feel like there might be a switch in folks like that where it's like maybe I should be saying something that's not just about jerking off on my couch and stuff like that. Like maybe I should use my voice to say something. And so I don't know when that morning paper read was, but that's usually what I kind of think in terms of.
Do you think he was eating like maybe Kix, or what kind of cereal do you think he was eating at the time? Maybe honeycomb.
Something encrusted in solid 24-karat gold, most likely.
Avocado toast. He ate avocado toast before we all knew it was cool.
His spoon is dipped in platinum, but yeah, look, I mean, it just seems like such a stark contrast. I get what you're saying. I think it all makes sense, and the progression of a human being and getting more mature. I think that people that become this ingrained in talking about this stuff show sparks of it earlier, show sparks of like a very strong opinion. And again, I don't know Billy Joe. I didn't talk to him back when he was singing Basket Case, but I think that, just from the outside looking in, it just seemed like all of a sudden that this was important out of nowhere. And I'm not saying that's wrong. It just was interesting to talk about. So
he does have a song on 39 Smooth called Road to Acceptance, which is about racism. He wrote that when he was really young. So that's actually one of the earlier songs from
that might be the answer to my question.
Like
that he's from a progressive area,
Maybe it's Road to Acceptance. That's a good one.
He's from the Boulevard of Broken Dreams is where he's from.
Yeah, listen, the Bay Area is a very progressive area for sure.
And he got that from a James Dean poster. It says Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and he's like sitting at a diner on the poster. James Dean is.
Oh yeah, that makes sense too. Steve, what do you think about this one?
I always think of these as two separate tracks. So I know Ross, you wanted to hear them. You want to hear them back to back, and it feels wrong if you don't. Again, just listening to radio that I do quite often, and I hear these songs separately quite often. To me, they're two separate tracks. But listen, you get into Holiday, and to me, this is just like a classic kick-ass Green Day song. I mean, it's great verses, a simple, memorable chorus. You got your Haze, where maybe they weren't commanding stadiums at that time. Maybe the clubs were smaller, but I mean, they probably were still having pretty big tours. I remember what Pop Disaster was an amphitheater tour, so that was pretty big. So I think Holiday just comes in with a ton of energy, and you come off a song that's got 5 different parts, that has like 5 different sections to it, and you just put out this piece that's just it's just a banger hit, a radio hit. And then I don't even know what to say about Boulevard of Broken Dreams. It's again one of those songs that just like has its own vibe. From the moment you hear it, I don't know, Tom, if this is a minor key or something like that, but it just sounds like it's like eerie, it's dark, it's not necessarily sad, but you just get that kind of feel to it, and it just I don't know, it stands on its own as just a mega hit. Again, it's hard to say like what I really like about it, because I've heard it like 7 zillion times, and I'm just like, this is Boulevard of Broken Dreams. This is a great song. That's really all I got about the combo.
To that point though, do you think, and this is more for the entire group than just for Steve, but I don't think it's any secret that this song was played a lot, and some may even say that it's overplayed. It's out there so much. Do you feel like something like that, looking at it from not so deep, because songs that are overplayed can still be amazing and people can say, no, I love these. But do you think it hurt the song at all being out there so much?
I don't feel like it was overplayed, at least not in my opinion. I know it's on the top Spotify list, but I don't think it was anywhere near as played, at least in my world, as Basket Case or Longview or Time of Your Life or even Welcome to Paradise on the radio or When I Come Around or Brains too. I feel like all those songs I've heard 100,000 times more than Boulevard on the radio. But I also technically stopped listening to the traditional radio in like around 2004 or 5. So you guys can shed some light on that. Maybe I missed out on those 2-3 years of hearing only Boulevard. But
I think these last 20 years, like the last 10 years, at least what I listen to, Wake Me Up When September Ends and Boulevard of Broken Dreams are on the radio much more than any
all the time.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. Okay, good to know. I would listen to K-Rock. I would listen to K-Rock in LA when I lived there this whole time till I moved, and they would play She more than Boulevard. And like I said, they would play all kinds of songs. I rarely heard Boulevard, but maybe they tried
K-Rock LA is
it's its own.
It's its own like kind of cool thing. So you got both K-Rocks. You got the New York K-Rock, and then you had the LA K-Rock.
Oh, yeah, the New York K-Rock was the better one, though. Let's be real.
See, they don't take any chances in Western Pennsylvania when it comes to music on the radio. Like they basically just latch on to 10 songs, and that's what you're getting. You're getting those 10 songs, whether you like it or not.
So we all love Boulevard, right? We all love Boulevard. That's the answer.
Yeah, look, and I just wanted a perspective on that, and it's awesome to think that that it wasn't the same experience for you as it was for me. I'm not saying, and to answer my own question, I don't think that it hurt it, but there was a point where I was like, kind of like, oh, okay, like how many times do I got to hear this song? I mean, anything like that, it's too much. But looking back again, it's still an iconic song. It's amazing, and they killed it live at this past summer's concert. So loved it.
And similar to Brains Too Jaded, I do not like on the radio. They'll play Boulevard and they will cut out the whole really cool ending that they have on the album with all the crazy guitar parts. They usually just cut right through that and go dun 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 dun, and the song ends on the radio. Yep. I don't like that. I don't like that.
That's it.
Play it in full.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next duo of tracks. So on the list, I have Are We the Waiting and Saint Jimmy. Guys, I got to know who this Saint Jimmy is because I have no idea, but I'll give my thoughts on the songs themselves. It's funny because I looked at my notes and I think I completely forgot to talk about my thoughts on Boulevard, but we're already past there. I got so excited about Holiday, but on this one here, I'll make sure to hit both. So I think you're talking about such a distinct contrast in the two songs. Are We Waiting is simply put like it's an arena rock cell phone light ballad to that transitions into a high energy guitar shredding rock song with Saint Jimmy. So such different songs, but they work together in transition. You got your even keeled, just relaxing, emotional into an amazingly just high tempo, high energy journey there. To me, like I love that the way it works. The gang vocals, I don't traditionally love gang vocals in a song, but I love the drum beat by Tré Cool in Are We Waiting. It's amazing. I think it's such a great ballad. And they bring, there's callbacks, like they call back to Jesus of Suburbia in this song. Saint Jimmy itself, like I don't have too many notes on this one. It's just like a high tempo song. I think it's fine. I'll say it again. Like I love the contrast between the two, but there wasn't really anything with Saint Jimmy that I could pull out or I wanted to talk about. So I'll stop here and see if any of you guys have more to say about that song. But let's actually go to Ross next, and you can kind of give your thoughts on both of these tracks.
All right, I have a lot to say here. Okay, so Are We the Waiting? Kind of similar to Boulevard in that I feel like it's a continuation of what he's talking about. He's still lonely, still has no friends, still in this big city all by himself. It's just not as big of a song as Boulevard or Broken Dreams. Would I want to hear it live without Saint Jimmy? I don't think so. I think it's a good intro build up to St. Jimmy. I think that's the point of the song. But Chris, I will now blow your mind by letting you know that St. Jimmy actually is Jesus of Suburbia. This is where the story gets good. So he is lonely, he's isolated. So where does he turn to? He turns to drugs, and he becomes this St. Jimmy character that's becoming this druggie. And you listen to that song, that's just him like flipping the switch, and now he's like ready to freaking wreak havoc on the world, all while being on different types of drugs, I'm sure. And Billy Joe played St. Jimmy in the musical, so he had a lot of fun with that, drawing on his chest with lipstick, and he had like the crazy eye makeup, and his hair was all wild. So I like the transition from Are We the Waiting to St. Jimmy. Also, weird side note, I grew up liking Pee Wee Herman. That was like my favorite, the first one, and I loved Pee Wee's Big Adventure. And when I got into Green Day in '94, watching their interviews, seeing their videos, Billy Joe kind of always reminded me of like a punk rock Pee Wee Herman in a way, which I know always seemed kind of weird. Like my friends never really found the correlation. But what blew my mind is that at the end of St. Jimmy, he says, "It's St. Jimmy, and that's my name, and don't wear it out." And Pee Wee Herman's big catchphrase was, "That's my name, don't wear it out." So I was like, there's no way he's just saying this to say it. He must be singing it because that's what Pee Wee Herman says. And later on, I did learn that, Billy Joe did meet Pee Wee a bunch. There's pictures of them together. I think he actually came to see the musical, and he did a big tribute to Paul Rubens when he died a few years ago. So that was just like a funny full circle moment for me personally, hearing him say, "And don't wear it out." And that was like the big Pee Wee thing that I would say to my parents growing up and to all my friends. So super fun song live. Just a nice, fast punk song like Platypus or like Jaded, just a fun one live. People are going to get moshing and just lose their mind for like 2 minutes straight.
Cool. I too was a fan of Pee Wee Herman growing up, so we can relate, and we'll talk off the air about that for sure, because I have some things to talk to you about. So, all right, let's go to Tom.
The transitions that happen at this point are so beautiful. I mean, going from song to song for the next couple songs, I love it so much. I think the way that they do it, I love that there's usually like a slower song into a faster song, and it just kind of plays with your mood a little bit, and then you got these ups and downs going on. Chris, you mentioned something about the drums for Are We the Waiting? Do you know Tré Cool's real name?
I did. It was in a trivia. I can't think. I can't remember it. No. Actually, it was you that got that, right?
That's why I'm asking you. I'm turning the tables, my friend.
I was busy. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
I was busy.
I was trying to run the show, and yeah, that's a tough. It's like something Williams the Third or something like that. Like
that's close. You got the
third in there. Yeah. See, yeah. Ross, I was on a trivia, and that was the final Jeopardy question was, what is Tré Cool's real name? And I was like, God, they couldn't have been more of a layup for me. It was so beautiful. Frank Edward Wright,
on Jeopardy?
On their Jeopardy.
You have your own Jeopardy.
All of us together. Cool. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was. Sorry, Chris, I had to put you on the spot, but I love the drums too. So when you were talking about that, that's why I got pumped up on that. Because Are We the Waiting, the drums, this gave me listening back, I was like, wow, this is like Jimmy Eat World with Green Day vocals. Because of that stringy guitar at the beginning, I was like, Green Day doesn't normally do anything like this, or they hadn't up to this point. And I absolutely love the song Are We the Waiting. I talked about the vocal parts that I get the feels about, and there's one on this one when he says "and screaming" at this song. Like anytime that happens, I'm like, oh, it's perfect. Yeah. Just like the delivery is spot on. It's so beautiful. I love this song. It feels really good. And then the transition into St. Jimmy, like I said, I absolutely love how it just goes right in with that. You got that constant note palm muted for a while. That's really nice. You listen to that. But to be very honest about the song St. Jimmy, I don't love it. I love the tempo change. I love that we're getting it picked up, but it kind of like, I don't know. There's a lot of moments that I think about them live when they played, for instance, like King for a Day, and he would run around in the crowd. And it kind of makes me think about, it kind of gives me that vibe. And I like King for a Day, but St. Jimmy, the song, it just never really felt as authentic of a Green Day song as some of their other stuff that I really got into. I can't explain it. It just never hit me the way I wanted it to. But I love Are We the Waiting?
Yeah, I'll wrap us up here. Are We the Waiting has like stadium anthem like all over it. The bass drum hits and are just huge. Like this is made for like who Green Day is now, like selling out stadiums, and just it's made for like a sing along. Is it a song that I need to like go back to and listen to over and over? Not really, but I think I like it for what it is. And it leads into St. Jimmy, which is just a kind of an old school Green Day track, fast paced, lots of lyrics, some good musical breaks. And I think it's a solid 2 tracks. I keep it quick.
And I will add one more time. Much like Brain Stew into Jaded, I've seen them do Brain Stew into St. Jimmy instead, and I don't like that transition.
They did what?
I've seen them do Brain Stew into St. Jimmy live instead of playing Jaded after Brain Stew. I don't think it's the same.
No.
I've also seen Brain Stew into Bang Bang, which is kind of weird too.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
I don't want that. I don't want that.
No, I don't want it either.
The mashups.
I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. But at least this past summer, we got to see them do it the right way. So that's good.
Yeah, that makes me feel that the Jesus of suburbia is a lie. And yeah, that goes back to it. So Steve, why don't you keep us going and tell us, or give us Novocaine, I guess, and talk about why she's a rebel.
Yeah. I like songs that have references to dental because I kind of work in the dental industry. So I like songs about Novocaine and, draining pressure that's swelling and stuff like that. And I really just like the chill vibe of this one. The acoustic guitar just sounds like so nice. And then after that first chorus, I don't know what to call it. There's like this bit of like an islandy kind of guitar, like this. You guys know what I'm talking. Yeah. I don't know how to really put an adjective to it. But I thought that this one was very different than anything else in the album. I think that in between when they kind of switch over, there might have been maybe like a shorter, that could have used a pause. I feel like it goes real quick right into She's a Rebel. And I mean, the song is really cool, but it doesn't really like shout out to me, nothing like overly special. I guess I think it's a good combo. Again, I'm always thinking about them as their individual things, so putting them together to talk about them here, interesting. But I think I like the Give Me Novocaine better than She's a Rebel part of this song.
Who's next?
Go ahead, Ross. You're up.
Are you combining these, by the way? Because that's how it is on Spotify. I'm just curious.
It's just
that's how it is on Spotify.
Decided to do, and I think we're gonna go with it. Yeah.
Oh, just because I have Apple, like I said, but I've heard people complain for years that they combine the songs on Spotify and then it drives them crazy when they want to listen to the individuals and they can't.
So they're separate on Apple, and you have no idea why we're complaining.
But hold on.
I assume that's why you were combining all of these, because I've heard stories about that.
On the album, are they combined?
No.
They're separate tracks.
Yeah, there's 13 tracks on the album, for sure.
Well, I mean,
So Give Me Novocaine. It's interesting because when I listen to it, I feel like this is his way of like fighting with himself about now that he's becoming this drug addict. You know what I mean? Like he wants Novocaine because he's depressed, but like he also kind of like doesn't want to, live that life. So I feel like it's almost like the inner struggle with himself. And I really like that angle when I listen to the song. Like, if he's saying like, tell me, Jimmy, I won't feel a thing, so give me Novocaine. But, he's like talking to himself because he is St. Jimmy, like I mentioned. So it's like his inner demon, I think, fighting, which is why it's more of like a somber song compared to St. Jimmy, where it's just like, let's go crazy, I think it's a fantastic song. I actually talk about hearing music in weird places. One time in LA, we went to a strip club and a girl came out and did a whole dance to Give Me Novocaine. That was her song choice. So that was probably the weirdest place I've ever heard a Green Day song before. Weird story, yeah, but weird but true. I I do love Give Me Novocaine. Again, I think it's one of those unique songs. I don't think he's ever done a song like that before and hasn't done one since. So to me, that's a really special one. She's a Rebel. Yeah, I guess it's fine. I mean, it's kind of like Are We the Waiting? I feel like it goes well with Say Jimmy, and She's the Rebel goes well with Give Me Novocaine. I don't know if Billy Joe said, Ross, what song do you want to hear? I would pick that out of every song in the Green Day discography. But, I've probably seen it 5-6 times live, and it's fun to listen to. It's quick and to the point, at least. So you don't have to really look at your watch and say, is there another 6 minutes of this one? Just like a quick little song. And I don't know too much about the band Jawbreaker, but I know a lot of fans were pissed because they claim that it's like a carbon copy of a big Jawbreaker song, like almost like, the whole melody and everything. So I don't know the song. So to me, it just sounds like a unique Green Day track. But it's fine. It's definitely not in my top 5 on the record. But I mean, like I said, I think every song has to be on this record or it wouldn't be American Idiot.
Steve?
I went already. Tom's turn.
Oh, I forgot about you completely. Sorry.
You weren't listening.
Yeah. I was thinking about something else.
Steve, we love you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I guess I do too.
Appreciate that.
I dig the song Give Me a Novocaine. I think it's fun. I like the wacky parts, Steve, that you were talking about. And I really like when it kind of hits hard with some of that. I think I'd be fine in my life if I had never heard it, but I do enjoy hearing it. And I really like the transition. I think, Steve, you said it felt a little abrupt when you heard it go from Give Me Novocaine to She's a Rebel. I was like, I kind of got into the whole drums dying down. Then all of a sudden it was like, darn it. Like I really enjoy the straightforwardness of She's a Rebel. It's just got this like really nice pop feel. I love the fact that they reference the album cover. She's holding on my heart like a hand grenade. I think that's really cool. I love touches like that in the lyrics. But yeah, exactly. I did, Steve. So when the lyric says she's holding on my heart like a hand grenade, do you think he just left out the word to, holding on to my heart like a hand grenade, because it didn't fit into the?
And she's holding on my heart like a hand grenade.
She's holding on my heart like a hand grenade. She's holding on my heart, like holding on or on to.
I don't know, I'm holding on your leg. I'm holding on your arm. I'm holding on your heart.
I don't think I'd ever say I'm holding on your leg, but
isn't that the logo of this album? What you just said?
Exactly. That's what I mean. But I'm just commenting on the lyric itself. Chris, would you ever say I'm holding on your hand? I'm holding on to your hand or on your hand.
Yeah, I say it all the time.
Would you say I'm holding on your hand?
I tell my wife that, like, hey, I'm gonna hold on to your hand.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you said two. You said two.
I'm holding on your hand now.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe
hold your hand. Well, Newfound Glory, right? They don't say hold on to your hand. I want to hold your hand, right?
But they don't say hold on. They just say hold your. There's no on.
I think
it's either on to or just get rid of everything.
It is hold my hand. You're right. Sorry. Come in and hold my hand. I'll take.
What about the Hootie song that could be hold on hand?
Hold my hand.
Hold on hand. That's completely off tune, but you get it.
Oh, Chris, before we move on, so She's a Rebel is What's Her Name. That's when he meets the character that he's falling in love with. That's the first time we're introduced to What's Her Name.
That's good. It's good you brought that up because
she's the rebel. She's the saint. She's the salt of the earth, and she is dangerous, believe it or not.
So has she not necessarily had a presence up until there was no female?
She is not. At this point, he's just on drugs and walking around and doing what he's doing, and then he meets What's Her Name.
So if I get this straight. So this guy is, at first he could potentially be an American Idiot, like kind of playing into everything that's around him. But then he finds a way to be an inspiration to everybody around him in the suburbs, becomes the Jesus of suburbia, gets the hell out of town because he has talent and he's able to write some songs. People like him. He goes to the big city. But he finds out that it is the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, which sends him on a downward spiral to become Saint Jimmy. And he gets to the point where it gets so painful that the only way that he can find a way out of it is to get some Novocaine to numb the pain. And just at the point where he was kind of at the breaking point, he finds what's her name, and that starts the music back up. So am I up to speed on what's happening here?
Yes, and at this point, the musical goes in a different direction. So now I'm just basing it off the album because the musical has all sorts of characters and goes in different directions. Yeah, so we're just doing the album version now.
Got it.
And yeah, I don't think he's supposed to have any talent. I think he's just some like kid who just some punk kid that wants to leave. I don't think he has any skill. He's just going there to go there. You know?
Oh, okay. He's just taking a trip.
Yeah, he thinks he's being cool by like getting out. Yeah. So now he meets what's her name, and so now we're up to track 9. Yeah.
Well, let me just say my piece about this. So I just a couple things that I'll call out that are different from what you guys said. I do think that "Give Me Novocaine" is an amazing song. This song is I think a standout at this point in time in the album. I know you guys have mentioned other songs maybe a little bit later that you're into, but for some reason, like in the latter part of this album, this is one of the best that I can listen to here. And there's a couple things that kind of add to that opinion. The guitar bursts, and I'll just call it guitar bursts that come in where he says, the drain the pressure from the swelling, like it's a, and then it stops abruptly, and then it comes back in for the next line. There's so much power in that delivery that I keep coming back to that point. Like there's the way that's put together gets me just going every time. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I wrote here, it comes in like kind of just, it smashes in like a wrecking ball. But then there's that dreamy contrast to the verse itself. Like he takes you kind of like a floaty sound for the rest of that particular song, Give Me Novocaine. So it's it hits you in the face with that great guitar in the chorus. It gives you something to kind of chill out to during the verse. And so musically speaking, I think that works great. She's a Rebel. I'm with some of the opinions that were already shared. Like it's not necessarily one of my favorite tracks. I think that there's definitely some merits to this, tempo wise. Melodically, it's fine. I didn't mind this one live, but musically, like it doesn't stand out. It's just a song that's here. I do like the way it furthers the story, but from a musical standpoint or sonically, it's just not my cup of tea. It doesn't hit like some of these other songs do, especially when you put it next to one of my favorites, Give Me Novocaine. Maybe that's the reason. But that's where I'm kind of at with this.
I agree. I feel like he kind of rewrote the song on the album Revolution Radio. There's a song called Youngblood, and I feel like it's almost the same exact song as She's a Rebel, just different lyrics.
All right, well, look.
The song was Boxcar by Jawbreaker that you're thinking of, Ross. I think if anyone listening wants to like reference the song Boxcar.
I'm still like not up. I think I know like the Atari's cover of that song and not even the real one.
Like the music sounds very similar.
Too. Okay.
The Atari's cover the Jawbreaker song, yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, Tom, because I was going to ask that question, so you kind of preempted it. But for those people out there that wanted to listen to it, go back and check that out. All right, well, I'll tell you what. So, Ross, you've been asking for it. I'm going to break the rules that we've set forward. We're gonna take this next one in 2 separate songs. Okay.
So they really combine them again. That's crazy.
They did, but I will do this for you because nuts, I'm going to do this for you. So why don't you kick us off? We're going to start just talking about Extraordinary Girl.
Do it for the fans, man. That's crazy that they do that. So the original name of the song is Radio Baghdad, which you can now hear the demo version of Radio Baghdad on the 20th anniversary of American Idiot on Spotify. And I kind of get that now because the intro to the song sounds like you could be, in Baghdad hearing that kind of music. So I feel like that is a more appropriate name for the song. Again, more about what's her name. She's the Extraordinary Girl, just another love song. Again, it's like, it's really cool to hear the album in its entirety. But again, it's one of those songs where I wouldn't request it. I wouldn't, if I had to make the ultimate set list, would I put that on there? Probably not. I think it's a nice song. I think it goes along well with the story, but I feel like it's similar to She's a Rebel. Like those 2 in a row, they're good for what they are, but they're not like, they don't blow my mind. I'm not like, oh my goodness, I have to make a mixtape and put Extraordinary Girl at the beginning of the mixtape or something. But it's still great because, like I said, it's my favorite album because together it's great. But separate, I wouldn't like go out of my way to like play it for my friends who didn't know the song.
Yeah, I admittedly, I don't know, other than Wake Me Up When September Ends, like I don't know the latter half of this album that much. I feel like I've listened to the like first half of this album like a lot. Even like when we went to the concert this summer, I'm pretty sure we left after She's a Rebel because I was like, I'm on the clock for the babysitter and I got to get out of this stadium and I live an hour away and I've been here for like 6 hours already.
You missed the best two songs, which were the last two. We'll get to that later.
Yeah, I don't know. But again, I don't have as much familiar. Maybe it's because it's a long album. It's almost an hour long. Maybe when I was first listening to it, I just listened to the first half all the time. But anyways, yeah, this has that strange. I thought it sounded like kind of African, like congas and stuff in the beginning. Other than that, the song has a very, to me, it seems very like Beatles-esque. I don't know the reason why I'm saying that, but when I was listening to it, I was like, this kind of reminds me of the Beatles a bit. And I think it's a good song. It's a bit repetitive, but it's not one that really would stand out to me. I was listening to this, I think, I was listening to Wake Me Up When September Ends as we were walking out.
It's cool to have this discussion with you now that I'm older and I can be honest with myself. Because if you would have asked me this 20 years ago, I would have said every song is a 10 out of 10 phenomenal. Every Green Day song ever. So it's cool to be like older now and have like a better realization of what's great and what's not that great.
Yeah, this song doesn't really do much for me. I'm fine. Like the wacky snake charmer music at the beginning, Steve. I think that you're talking about the Ross. You were saying
Baghdad music, yeah.
It's like snake charmer music. It kind of sounds like to me. I am fine with this song existing. But Steve, I think you think it sounds like the Beatles probably because that driving beat. It's got like this really pop kind of pushing guitar part. That's very Beatles-esque. I could see that.
Is he not playing a sitar at the end? And isn't that like a Beatles kind of instrument?
Yeah, I mean, there's been plenty of Beatles moments in Green Day songs over the years. Like especially what's that song on Warning that's got the harmonica?
It's called Hold On.
Me Do. Yeah, exactly. It's like
and they had to legally go back and change the intro because it was too much like a Beatles song, so they had to fix it before they put the album out.
So there's plenty of love given to the Beatles. So I think Steve, you're not far off on that one. But this song, I'm fine with. Chris, what about you?
I don't think I have much more to say. I'm aligned with everybody here. I think there's just something about this song that isn't for me. So, not every song can be your favorite. I love Green Day. Melodically, though, like just I don't dislike it. It's just there. And I think that's really all there is to it. But I'm okay with that because, and I'll go into the next one, which is Letter Bomb. Letter Bomb picks up the enjoyability factor in this. We'll call it a duo if it is. If it's a separate track, it brings up the enjoyability factor in the next track exponentially, in my opinion. Guys, I see this as a really, really, really close throwback to one of my favorite albums, Insomniac. Like, I feel like this track could potentially be on that album, and just the way that it sounds, I don't know why it just has that feeling to it that I just loved about that Insomniac album. But the song itself, when you compare it to Extraordinary Girl, and I don't want to do that specifically, I want to give it its own merits, but it just has a better sound to me, like the better tempo. It's something more up my alley. It's just, he says, "Run for your fucking life." Like, I forget that line was really cool. One of the biggest pick scrapes, Tom, that I've ever heard on a song. I don't know how you do a pick scrape that big. It just, you have to have, was the pick he was using the size of like, I don't know, maybe like a Frisbee. It just sounded like just crazy, but amazing chorus. Just everything about this song I thought worked. So I was really into Letter Bomb.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, you go, Tom.
I can be quick. I love this song so much. Chris, I love what you said because there's a lot about the song that's classic Green Day, and it has to do with the strumming pattern that he's playing and the hi-hat that Tré Cool's playing, like the fast hi-hat, it is so reminiscent of Insomniac, Dookie era. It's like it's got all that stuff. Whenever I heard this for the first time, I was like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I wanted. I from start to finish the song. I mean, even with who's it, Kathleen Hanna that sings this part from Bikini Kill, I guess. Like that's cool. That's fun. This song has my favorite part of the entire album on it, which is the outro bridge, which is she said, I can't take this place, I'm leaving it behind. She said, I can't take this town, I'm leaving you tonight. Like that part, just like the driving factor that's built in and the way he delivers that, again, it goes back to these are the moments that I'm just enamored by. That's one of them. But overall, Chris, I am right there with you that this song helped me revisit old Green Day, but still kind of feel like I was listening to newer Green Day as well, which is really nice. 10 out of 10. I love the song.
You're forgetting the best part of the song is that yell, especially live, where he says, where will we all go when it's too late? And then is like the craziest live one. And then like the breakdown is like in that song. Again, 10 out of 10. This is the song, Chris, where what's her name is fed up with that lifestyle. She doesn't want to be with this deadbeat loser anymore. She says, you're not the Jesus of suburbia. This Saint Jimmy is a figment of your father's rage and your mother's love. Made me the idiot America. Pretty cool. Great lyrics right there. And she says, I'm leaving you tonight. And that's when what's her name? She's out. She said, I'm leaving you. I'm sick of this. And that's where he is. Now he's back with drug addiction and no girlfriend. And so that's where the latter part of the album leaves us so far. But that song is great for sure. Every time they play it live, I go nuts. It's always great to hear it. They've pretty much kept it in their set list the past 20 years, give or take a few shows. So I think they're well aware that people want to hear it. And I'm pretty sure Billy has said himself many times that's his favorite song on the record too.
Yeah, I thank you for that, because I really like, the highlight that it is tying together. It's tying together like the whole album so far. And when they're specifically calling those things out in that verse, that's fantastic. I think for me, one of the ones, again, on the latter half of this album that I'm a little less familiar with, this chorus here is a whole lot of fun. I really like it. And I probably like recognize it when I see it live or hear it more often. And I don't give myself credit for like knowing and liking the song, but I think I should go back to it and listen to it more and more. But it is still just has that familiarity to me. Not as much as the next one, but
if somebody went up to me and said, I've never heard Green Day, like what's like a good starting point? Like, what do you think is like their signature sound? I'd put that on the list right next to Welcome to Paradise and like Stay the Night, probably. Like those three songs would be like the most Green Day sounding, in my opinion.
All right. Do we all go? Should we get to Wake Me Up When September Ends? Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready.
I'll go for it. So, there are some songs that Billy Joe sings where some of the lyrics, you might not understand what he's saying, or he talks fast, or sometimes, he's got his like twang or whatever. This song from the very first note is just so recognizable. And again, it might be because I've heard it a million times. It's still on the radio a million times, but it seems like the entire song is familiar. Like, I feel like everybody who knows the song knows like every single word to it. It's just that memorable. And it's weird. I don't even know. It's like that every part of it. Like if you look at the lyrics, every grouping of lyrics, like I know there's a chorus, but it seems like each part of it is just that familiar. You know what I mean? Like you just kind of know this entire, like it's all choruses. Every single thing that he says is all chorus, even though it's this slow, acoustic, sad song, dealing with his father's passing, or, in the context of the story. Ross, what is this in the context of this story?
I think he's just sad at this point because his chick left and it's a lonely September. I mean, that's the only way you can relate it to that part of the story. I almost feel like it doesn't really fit in at all with the album, honestly, with the storyline.
But it did spark shitloads of memes. And every single year, people are like, oh, it's October 1st. Somebody wake up Billy Joe Armstrong. And so this song has its place in pop culture. And I think it's worth it. I like the song a lot.
Tom?
I'll go next because
Chris?
I don't have much to say about this one. You know, I don't care for this song. I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off.
Dang, Chris.
I just don't like it. I don't want this song. I don't like September a ton, guys. I don't want to hear
You want it to end?
I do want it to end. I don't want August to end because I don't want to go to September.
Oh,
September,
I get you. You don't want to get to October.
I don't like that transition. I'm not a fall person. I like the summer. August is the end, and the September is the beginning of all that fall stuff, which begins the cold season, which I'm not a fan of. But beyond all that, I don't know. Something about the slowdown here is not as good as some of the other slowdowns that they've had. You know, slower songs on this album and other albums. Just doesn't connect with me, guys. So, you know, that's just personal opinion.
I agree with you. I didn't love it when I first heard it, and I honestly used to skip it back in the day when I first got the album and listened to it every day, 5 times a day. I would skip the song. I just don't necessarily love slow songs. Green Day don't have too many slow ballads. Rest is one on their first album that I don't like either. Kerplunk has No One Knows. I actually do like that one a lot. Dookie would be When I Come Around. I skipped that song even when I was a kid. I didn't really love that one either. Insomniac, Brain Stew would be the slowest song. I was never a fan of that one either. I just don't like slow songs. Nimrod, Redundant. I do love that song, actually. So Warning, I guess a lot of Warning songs are slow. Can't even think it. Maybe Deadbeat Holiday. That's a good slower one on Warning. So out of all the slower Green Day songs, I like not as many. So Wake Me Up is in that category of like, I don't love it. Luckily, I haven't had a family member I'm close to pass in my life, so I don't relate to it lyrically. I'm sure I will one day, of course, but that's a really, emotional song, and he's cried a lot in performances playing it on stage. It really hits him hard still, and it's been so many years. So I guess maybe one day it'll hit me more. Kind of like they have a new song, Father to a Son, and I don't have a son, so I don't really connect with that one lyrically either. But for the story, I think it's just him being sad that he lost what's her name, and he doesn't know what else to do now with his life. He's just sitting there bored.
Yeah, no, I get that. And I should clarify really quick what I meant by slower song, because I love Brain Stew. I mean more of like a ballady type song versus a slower tempo. So I just don't like this one as a ballad or as a song with a ton of emotion. There are others that are better than this. And even though I sympathize with what this song definitely means to him, definitely don't want to take that away. And I do realize that, musically, I'm sure there's others that really enjoy the way this song is structured. I do like the emotional swell. I think it's towards the middle to the end. That's maybe one positive you can pull out of here, but just seems really samey to me. And if there's a song that I normally skip when I get to a Green Day song, it's this one.
So, Ross, I thought you were going to go through every subsequent album and go through the slow songs. You were doing a really good job of like picking them off. Like this song on this album, I loved hearing that.
Well, on 21st Century Breakdown, I love Restless Heart Syndrome, but I do not love Before the Lobotomy, and those are 2 slower songs.
So you got the best guy for this discussion right here in Ross. And Chris, something that I found after listening to multiple episodes, and you speak a lot about music, I love that you're predictable but not. Like I can never fully guess when you're gonna like a song or not like a song. You're a beautiful enigma, and I really like that about you because I thought you were gonna enjoy this song, but the opposite, and that's totally cool because I don't love the song either. I'm right there with you, and Ross, your same opinion. I think like it's fine. I think there's a couple of good vocal moments in the song. But overall, it's got a good emotion. Yeah, yes, I will give it that, but there's nothing that hooks me in that I don't have anything else about it.
Well, let's get on to the two. Let's move on to the 2 best songs on the album then, Chris.
Go for it. You've been waiting to talk about.
Yeah, you've been talking about Homecoming since the beginning.
Kick it off.
You can talk about it first. I'll be right back. 1 second.
All right, I'll talk about it. I can share if you want, real quick.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So it's definitely one of my favorite songs, and I think there's a couple of highlights in here. I love the intro. I love just getting right into it, and I love the way he's singing. He's basically playing like a chord progression, but again, he does a really good job of adding one little riff, like a bend note in there that makes it really nice. And I love the way he sounds with just the solo guitar at the beginning. And there are a couple of moments in this song, uh, up to about 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the song. I feel like 0 seconds to 2 minutes and 30 seconds is unbelievable. Like there's some like hit or miss parts as we go through this, but the fact that I got 0 to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, that's the best part of this whole song to me. And the highlights are the what the hell's your name? What's your pleasure? What's your pain? Do you dream too much? Delivery right there, spot on. Jimmy died today, blew his brains out into the bay. Like, yes, that delivery. Yeah, Ross, you feel me? Like the way he sings that, there's like the melody of it and the delivery and just the feeling of the song. It's perfect. It is exactly what I want in a song. It comes out right there. And then I love the callback to Letter Bomb, to Nobody Likes You, that he sings like Nobody Likes You, everyone's left you. Yeah, like that part. Yeah. I mean, that's so cool. Any callbacks, like that's happened a lot in this album. It's so fun to reference a story, obviously, that's really neat for continuation purposes. Continuity is good, but just to reference your own songs, I think that's really neat. I actually borrowed that writing lyrics in our own band. I was like, wow, Green Day did it. I should really do that. I should reference our own song. That's so cool. So I absolutely love this song. And Ross, I was just saying 0 to 2 minutes and 30 seconds is golden to me. There's some hit or miss parts later on, like with Trey singing, like that stuff is fun, but 0 to 2 minutes and 30 is the highlight for me.
All right. Where do I begin with this song? Holy crap. All right. So first of all, Tom forgot about probably the best reference in the song that ties everything together. I literally, my head freaking exploded the first time I ever heard the song. While Trey is about to finish his part, says, I haven't drank or smoked nothing in over 22 days, so get off my case. You hear in the background Billy Joe go, don't want to be an American idiot. That's the ultimate throwback to tie the album together. If you don't remember that, Tom, you got to go listen to that.
I don't. I guess I have to listen again in the headphones. I didn't even hear that.
It will blow your mind. They do it live too. Like it's right after Trey when he's finishing. He's like, "Don't want to be an American idiot, off of my case." It's so crazy. So I love this song. Like I said, I think the whole thing 0 to 9 minutes is perfect. I don't think any of the parts are weak. Probably vocally the best parts are, like you said, when he says like the Jimmy died part, like the way he does his voice, or what the hell's your name? Like that whole part is incredible, the vocal range. In the musical, when he did it, it was even better than when they do it with Green Day. I don't even know how to explain it. It was just him kind of like a cappella singing that part of the song. So it was like chilling to the bone to hear him do that live in like a theater setting. What was really cool is so before that song, the only time we had heard Mike Dirnt sing was on Outsider, which is a Ramones song. Sorry. So when Warning came out, the CD single of Warning, one of the B-sides was Outsider, the Ramones cover. And they let Mike sing like the whole, it's not really the chorus of the song, I guess what they call it, like the bridge. So he sings like this whole part of the song. And that was the first time like anyone had ever heard Mike Dirnt sing anything. So I thought that was cool. And then all of a sudden, I'm listening to Homecoming for the first time, and here comes Mike Dirnt singing by himself. I'm like, this is freaking crazy. Does he have the best voice? No, but it's insane that he's singing on a Green Day song, not Billy Joe at this point. And then all of a sudden, you have Trey Cool singing a whole verse, and you're like, this is completely freaking insane. So I think that having those two guys do their own parts of the song, and then having everything that Billy Joe does before and end the song, makes it like probably like one of the ultimate Green Day songs. And from a story perspective, there's a lot crammed into this part of the song, Chris. Basically, after it's weird. Like he says like he's talking about how Jimmy died today. He blew his brains out into the bay. He says that in the song. So he kicks the habit. He gets rid of St. Jimmy. He's back to being Jesus of Suburbia. I guess they call him Johnny in the musical. They give him a name. So at this point of the story, it's almost the end. He decides to leave the big city, and go back home to the 7-Eleven where he hangs out with his buddies all the time and reunite with them. So in a way, it's kind of weird because in one way there's no big payoff to this whole story, but then it almost seems like more realistic of what actually does happen in reality. Tried to do something, bigger than what he was used to. It didn't work out, so he went back home. And maybe there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like when I was younger, I didn't really understand what was the point of going through all this? But now maybe I get it more now that I'm older, that that's just what happens sometimes in people's life. It doesn't mean he's going to have a boring life there or have no fun or nothing interesting happen, but that's how it ends, man. He just gives up and he goes back home. Homecoming. We're coming home again.
That's a lot. That's a lot, guys. Steve, what about you?
Yeah,
I got to collect my thoughts.
That is a lot. I don't have that much exposition, and I'm glad that you guys had it. But, I was kind of taking a look at this, and I did get that don't want to be an American Idiot thing, because I print out the lyrics, and I like to listen while I'm reading the lyrics. And actually, the lyric site that I printed it from, it straight up, it tells you the different parts, and each one of the parts has its own name. I don't know if that's official or not official, but
it is. It's on the CD.
It is. Okay. So, that first part, if you're not that invested in the story, then I could see how this extra 9-minute song is a lot. But even if you're remotely invested or not, this is very Broadway. I feel like if you listen to this album at first, maybe this song, you're like, holy shit, man, they should do a musical. And they, it's very marchy in the very beginning. I thought it was really cool to have the other two guys sing. I definitely liked, I think I like Trey's section better than Mike's, but I like how they kind of tie it together with the coming home again. And it's a long song, but again, when you think about a 9-minute song, if it's 5 songs that are each a couple minutes. So I thought it was really cool. I don't think I liked it better than Jesus of Suburbia, but I appreciate that you guys did.
I mean, they're both mind-blowing songs, so it doesn't really even matter, honestly, which one you like better, as long as you can appreciate them both for what they are,
And I feel like, as I said in the beginning, if you get into this story in this album big time, I could see how these are epic songs for you.
Yeah.
And I'm a little bit more on the ancillary enjoyment, but again, the rock opera one that I love, the Ludo Broken Bride, I get into these songs, and there are lyrics that point out that literally make the hairs on my arm stand up, and I feel what you guys feel.
And it was cool. After this album, they did another one on a 21st Century Breakdown called American Eulogy, and Mike has more singing on that song, more of his own verses, which is nice. And then he did it one more time on Trey, the album, Sex, Drugs, and Violence. He just has one line. They let him sing by himself. Then after that, they said, okay, you're done. He hasn't sang since.
We should do everybody do a shot every time Steve brings up Ludo.
That would be great.
I gotta look them up. I only know the one song from a million years ago. I have to get more into it.
Not a lot of people know them.
I haven't listened. I know who Ludo is. I haven't listened to that, but maybe I should.
I used to confuse them with that band that sings "Scotty Doesn't Know," but that's not the same band. That's Sarah, I think.
Is that Lustra?
Lustra, yeah, Lustra. Exactly.
Yeah.
I interviewed them once just because I wanted them to play that song for me live.
You sure it's Lustra? I thought it was what's his name? Not Ben Affleck, but Matt Damon. I thought he was the guy.
He's in the movie.
Okay,
but it's a real song. The band is actually Lustra that does it. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Damon's the singer in that.
Oh yeah, Euro Trip, a fantastic movie too.
Yeah, I mean, this is another epic, guys. It's hard to compare the two, in my opinion, because there's so many good things about both. I think you really did a good job kind of itemizing why you like this song better. I don't, and I'll tell you why. When you think about, just blow for blow, the different sections of each of these songs, while there is a novelty that is, like Steve said, just a really cool thing to do with having Trey and Mike both sing. It's kind of like if you go back to the Dookie era and think about the fact that, you really only heard Trey Cool sing the All By Myself song, but that was more of a joke. And you never heard Mike sing based on, again, I'm talking from a younger me, not really knowing if he sang or not, but
it's like when you hear Travis do his 2 things that he's done.
Right. It's very, very, very just rare and unique, and it's a novelty, right? So the problem is that I don't think those sections are as good when you compare them up with the sections that Jesus of Suburbia brings to the table. Every single section of that song is just an amazing composition of music, of lyrics, of delivery. Yes, it's all Billy Joe, of course, but it's just different in the way that I feel like the Mike Dirnt and the Trey Cool sections of this song are lulls that aren't as good. Now, I will say that the first section of the song is phenomenal. The Billy Joe section at the beginning is just outstanding in a lot of different ways. I love that part. I think it's great. I think it stands up to the best that Jesus of Suburbia brings to the table, and just comparing the two together. But I think it falls down a couple notches after that, and it's not a bad song. I love the journey it brings you on. The callbacks to everything that it calls back is amazing. I love continuity. This song gives you that. But if I have to pick, it's got to be Jesus of Suburbia between the two. So
that's no one's judging either of you, man.
Yep.
And if you like those kind of songs, there's another fantastic one on the album Trey called Dirty Rotten Bastards, and that's almost just as good as those two, honestly.
Yeah, and like, kind of wrapping things up here with What's Her Name. So we're finishing the story, right? We're finishing the story.
I can go, man. I could do a 3-hour podcast just on the song, but I'll spare you.
Go ahead. Yeah, you're up.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is I've tried before to think of my favorite Green Day song, and there's like hundreds, and I go back and forth all the time with what I love, what I like. This might actually be my favorite Green Day song of all time, which is insane because it's not even like a typical Green Day sounding song. Something about it from the day I heard it till now is just so haunting to me, and I've been lucky enough to see it live 4 times in 2004 and 5, and then once this summer, so about 5 times live. I think I've cried every single time I've seen it live. Probably cried live listening to it on the album a bunch of times. I just think the melody is phenomenal. I love the lyrics from start to finish, especially that last part of the song. He says, "And in the darkest nights, if my memory serves me right, I'll never turn back time, forgetting you, but not the time." I don't care that he's rhyming time with time. Something about that verse is just so bone chilling to me. And the way he harmonizes with himself, that "I'll never turn back time," that exact line, the way you hear it on the album is like, I feel like the best harmony like he's ever done with himself. And it's just a great song. And, you can relate to it. You look back maybe on old relationships you've had and like, maybe it didn't work out. Maybe you even hate the person, but you probably wouldn't want to go back and change anything about the fun times you had, And it's kind of like, him thinking back about what's her name and she's gone and she's not coming back and he has to move on, but he's never going to forget the good times they had, And then like he just has to move on with life and hopefully love again. And it's just, I think, a perfect ending to a perfect album. And I would never imagine not having that song be the last track. I don't see any other way to end the record besides having what's her name on there, track 13. Fantastic. 11 out of 10 for me, that song.
Nice. I'll pop in, and this is one that I haven't listened to as much as a lot of the other ones because it's here at the end. But man, it is really good. I think one of the quirky things that I love the best is when he says, "Did she ever marry old what's his face?" So not only is he's using this "what's her name" throughout the concept of this record without giving her a name, but then she's gone and she's with somebody else, and that person is just referred to as "what's his face." I think that the basic strumming in this song is really, really nice. He's got, I don't know, somewhat of like a monotone-ish delivery in a lot of it. And to me, it's just like calming. Like I really like this to end the album.
Also, as a Green Day nerd, I think it's funny because in a Prosthetic Head on Nimrod, he actually says, "What's his face?" So I always think of it as being the same person, even though it's not. Just like he says the same name.
Maybe.
And the songs are pretty darn similar at the beginning with the fact that they got this like muted, non-distorted guitar, which is kind of cool to end the album. I like that. But
I was going to say one more thing, Tom. Sorry. So Billy Joe writes a lot of songs still about his ex-girlfriends, especially one named Amanda. He actually started writing a lot more songs about her on the trilogy, which is kind of strange because he's been married for like 30 years. But he wrote What's Her Name specifically about this ex-girlfriend. And if you watch the documentary on the making of American Idiot, which is called Heart Like a Hand Grenade, which you can see on YouTube and any streaming service, he's listening back to the song on the making of it. He's like bawling his eyes out. And I don't know if it's because he's thinking about her or because it's just like the end of the album is done, but it's just like a really emotional moment to see him having that kind of reaction, because that's kind of like what I have hearing the song myself.
You think that flies? I mean, do you think it's a, because you know, if his wife does ask, like, oh, who's this song about? Oh yeah, it's Amanda, my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah. There's a whole world that we can go down around the Trilogy era, Foxborough Hot Tubs era. He was getting drunk every night. He was calling girls on stage and literally making out with them in front of everybody. He has a feature on the album Dose from the girl named Lady Cobra, and there were tons of rumors about the two of them together. I'm not Billy Joe's best friend. I don't know what he did or didn't do, but there's a lot of apology songs on the Trilogy too, like a great song called Stray Heart saying, I'm sorry I cheated, I won't do it again. So is it fictitious or is it not? We'll never know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's a lot of ties to Winona Ryder from certain eras. Yeah. I think there's probably a lot of stuff. But Chris, I can't even imagine being married to someone in the spotlight like that, as such as he is, that it would just probably be wild, to your point.
Yeah, who knows if they may have an agreement. We don't know what they, do in their private life, I guess.
Oh, true.
He's got songs about on the Trilogy, a girl Ashley, a girl Amanda, it's all different girls in these songs.
I'll make it simple and to the point here. So this is in the grand scheme of things, a relatively short song, on this album. It's only about 4 minutes. So again, I'm not complaining about that. I do think a lot of the longer songs on this album don't feel like it. So just a testament to a great album with some great tracks. I think this track is solid. I think what really doesn't necessarily sell it for me is what Steve said, the steadiness or the monotone delivery in the first half of the song. I wasn't as into. I didn't get into that at all. Like I think the melody is good. I like the way he sings it, but I don't love the way that it just sounds in a lot of ways. So I do really like when the song kicks up. So around 2:10, about midway through, the song kicks up in sound, a little bit more guitar, a little bit louder. And that's where I think it really comes into its own. So for half the song, like I'm really into this one, but I see what he tried to do here. I can appreciate it. I see where, you could potentially like the way that it takes you from A to B. I want to get straight to B on this song because A to B just isn't as interesting to me. So that's kind of where I'm at here.
I get it. I understand. The song kind of reminds me of the Wallflowers song "One Headlight," which is also a good song. I think it's similar.
I can close it out by just reiterating what Ross said. I feel similarly that the vocal delivery on this song is outstanding. The thing I love about the verses, I know it's very subdued and it's kind of the softer palm muting. I love the way his voice carries over that, and it works so perfectly. It's very softer. He's singing very soft, but verse 1 to verse 2, really similar, but there's a couple of differences, a couple of spots where he changes the melody that is so perfect. The way he does it, it keeps you interested. It gets you re-excited about the verse because I love the verse melody when it started, and I was like, oh, you're just going to do the same exact thing? Well, I'm not really going to be into that. Oh, wait, I am going to be into it because you added a couple of nuances here, flares right there that kicked it up a notch. And then, Chris, when it kicks in with that guitar, I don't know what the producer or the mixer was doing, but I feel like they just kicked the volume up like 10 notches because it just blows the speakers up when it comes in, like the like it's so loud. But then, Ross, to echo your point, the ending is unbelievable. That whole outro, the remember whatever, it seems like forever, all of that, just like unreal. When I first heard that, I was like, this is so perfect. This is one of my favorite Green Day parts in a song. Like one of my favorite Green Day songs is Scattered. That's one of my very favorite songs. And this kind of has that, it just made me feel the way I felt when I first heard that song. It got me hooked. And like the outro line, like you were talking about in The Darkest Night, that part, perfect ending. Absolutely killed it for me. I loved the way that this one closed out.
Fantastic. I agree. Like I said, I've been a fanatic for 30 years. Steve and Chris, still my favorite Green Day album. I don't know if they can top it, and I don't think they should even try. I've talked to Tom about this before on Instagram. I'm in the minority where I actually think that the trilogy, which came 2 albums later, I think the trilogy is phenomenal. I think it has some of Green Day's best work on there. Songs you should check out if you're listening: Brutal Love, Ex-Kid, Stray Heart, Rusty James, Stay the Night. I think that those 3 albums that they put out in 2011, 2012 was ultimate Green Day. The guitars, the melodies, everything about it, the musicality, like it was just phenomenal. And it just fell flat because of the Rehab stuff. And I feel like a lot of fans just didn't connect with it like I did. I still listen to the trilogy almost as much as American Idiot, if not more, on a regular basis. So I always beg people whenever I do any podcast about Green Day, like, I know you like American Idiot, I know you like Dookie, I know you like maybe even Saviors and Revolution Radio, but go back and give the trilogy a chance, because a lot of those songs I think are mind-blowing, and I would put like 20 of them in my top 40 of like best Green Day songs.
Am I the only one that likes Insomniac? You didn't mention that in that.
Oh no, Insomniac's great. No, it's great too. I guess I've just heard it.
I'm not offended. I was just curious why you didn't mention it. Yeah.
No, I at this point I love. Okay, so I told Thomas too. I love when Green Day experiment. Doesn't mean it's always going to work. So Father of All did not work for me or for almost anybody. But I appreciate the fact that they tried to do something different. When they do an album like Revolution Radio or Saviors, which were both pretty well received, to me, I call that safe Green Day. I feel like it's not the music maybe Billy Joe necessarily wants to be making, but he's doing it because he wants the fans to come back and forgive him for being so extreme with the previous album, which was Father of All Motherfuckers, that bombed. So in my mind, after the trilogy, my next favorite thing he did was The Long Shot, which was his own solo record where he did all the instruments himself. To me, The Long Shot record is the continuation of the trilogy. And that's what I think is what he wants to do. Real straightforward rock and roll, just fun music, no secret agenda. But I feel like sometimes he has to dial it back in and go back to like the traditional Green Day that people have come to love. And so I enjoyed the new album, Saviors, but it's not in my top 5 favorite. I think it's fine. That's what I just say. It's okay. It's fine. I don't know if you agree, Tom, with the new record just came out this year.
I'm good with it. I think it'd probably be in my top like 8 maybe, but Insomniac is definitely in my top 3, Chris, if that makes you feel better. That's one of my favorite albums.
No, I love that. 86 is one of the best songs ever. Come on.
Absolutely. So here's one final question before we get into this last segment. Sure. Is Billy Joe Armstrong, this is a multi-part question, but is he in the top 20 best all-time, let's say, punk rock lyricists? Top 20.
I think before the last few records, I would have said he's number 1. And I hate to say it because it's my idol, but I feel like maybe he's not trying as hard as he used to, or maybe he has less to write about because he's lived it all and done it all. So I just feel like now when I listen to it, it's a lot of reused lyrics from other albums, a lot of reused phrases. He does a lot of metaphors now. I feel like lyrically after the trilogy, it didn't hit me as hard. I didn't connect to it as much. And that kind of makes me sad. No, I'd still say he's in the top 5, not even top 20, but used to be number 1. But like I said, once Revolution Radio came out, I feel like he kind of lost it. And I have a lot of fanatical friends like I am for Green Day, and they all agree with me that they just don't connect lyrically like we used to. And I don't think it's about being old because he's always going to be 10 years older than me. I just feel like maybe he's out of things to write, but he still has to make new music because the fans want to hear new stuff and he wants to put out new music too. And I'm happy he's doing it, But for me, lyrically, I connect once again to that Long Shot record, Love is for Losers, I mentioned, way more than the last few Green Day albums. Check out Long Shot. Lullaby is for Losers if you haven't.
I was actually going to build up to that. So we were going to go top 20. Yeah. And if you guys said yes, then we're going to say, what about top 10? And then we're going to do that. But no, you said top 5, if not one.
I just think I just put Green Day in a different category altogether. Like people are like, oh, look, I love MXPX and I love Ataris and New Found Glory and probably all the same pop punk bands you guys like, but I never, or Sum 41, I never put any of them in on the same level. It's always been Green Day and then Blink and then everybody else. That's how I think of it.
Maybe Tom and Steve, you have different opinions. Like maybe you don't, but where do you put Billy Joe in terms of a
vocalist or lyricist? Because I think those things are a little bit different.
Vocalist.
For vocals, Chris, I put him at number 1. All the way,
number 1,
all day, every day. No, when you said punk vocalist, I think
punk,
I'm not
rock, punk rock.
No,
punk
number
rock.
1 vocalist, lyricist. I'd probably put him in like the top 10, but vocals, soul, just the sound, the performance, all of that passion. Number 1.
Wow, that's big, Steve. Do you feel like you agree, disagree? What do you think?
In terms of pop punk vocalists, I think he's one of the top 5 best. Sure. I don't know what I would say in terms of lyricists. I think I'd really have to think about that more. And you know what? To be fair to their catalog, I don't know the whole catalog like Ross does and Tom does. And Chris, I don't know if you know their second half of the catalog. I don't. I know their early. I listened to stuff in the 90s and the early 2000s. After this album probably ends where I am like fanatical about Green Day. So as a frontman, though, seeing what they've done as a band over the last 30 years, and I mean, he's in the top 5 for sure. So I would say top 5.
Top 5. I'm reeling you back in though. Who's better? If he's not number 1, who's one person that's better than Billy Joe in your opinion?
I know you're gonna say Tom DeLonge or Mark Hoppus, aren't you?
I'd put both of them ahead, but that's just because I like them better.
Okay.
Strings. Yes. Great lyrics. Yeah. I'm kidding. They're up there too, of course.
I mean, they have terrible lyrics, but just in terms of, the vocals.
I just thought of that song for Strings.
Wasn't he sick when they recorded that?
Yeah. Whatever. Tim Armstrong was sick when they made the Rancid 2000 album. Doesn't make it any different.
So everybody out there, if you're listening, tell us what you think. Where does Billy Joe rank in the pantheon of lyricists or vocalists for punk rock? But right now, go ahead.
I was going to say it's not necessarily. Well, maybe it is punk rock. I don't know, Tom, but I think Anthony from Bayside is one of the best modern lyricists for that kind of genre.
I agree. I disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, he's fantastic. His new solo record's great too with his lyrics.
Moving on then, guys, we're going to go to the next segment, ranking it. So this is where we rank our top 3 off the album in order, 3, 2, 1. Absolutely no honorable mentions, just your top 3 in order from 3 to 1. So that said, we usually start with the guests, and we're going to start with Ross. So Ross, what are your, and we're breaking apart these songs. So the ones that we did together, they're all broken apart. It's all fair game. Top 3 from 3 to 1 off the album, American Idiot.
Oh, what's her name? Number 1, Homecoming. Number 2, and then number 3 is probably Boulevard. Yeah, Boulevard / Letterbomb.
Okay, so
there's no honorable mentions. You can't do that.
Okay, I'll just do Letterbomb, and honorable will be Boulevard.
Thank you for following the rules. Ross, you don't worry about it. Like I totally get it because we went over that song as a duo, so I can understand.
Yeah, true.
So, Tom, you are up next. You know the rules. I don't have to say them again. What are your top 3 off the album in order?
Am I supposed to do it the way Ross did it, just to make him feel less badly about himself when he listens back to this? Ross, I'm totally just kidding with you.
We generally like to just build suspense going from 3 to 1.
When I get to the 2 hour and 16-minute mark, and I get upset, but I said that.
Yeah,
all good.
You'll never make it through. Okay, I'm totally just teasing. Number 3 would be Homecoming. Number 2 is What's Her Name. Number 1 is Letterbomb.
Wow,
solid.
You guys love the end of this album. I love
totally.
It's phenomenal.
I love that.
It's phenomenal. It literally is.
I love that. I'll go next, and then Steve, you can wrap us up. So I'm going to go Letter Bomb with number 3 by far. Then I'm going to go Give Me Novocaine for number 2. And it was between 2 songs, but it has to be Jesus of Suburbia for my number 1. I don't know if there's a song that beats that. Holiday's close, but not close enough. So
nice.
Wow. Neither of you 3 guys had American Idiot in there. Okay. I don't either. So my number 3 is going to be Give Me Novocaine. Number 2 is Jesus of Suburbia. And I'm giving number 1 to Holiday because I think it's probably got the most staying power in my brain. Me and Chris are pretty close.
Good karaoke song, too. I've done Holiday many times.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And listen, thank you guys. This has been a marathon. I think this album was worth talking about, and we certainly asked the right people to come join us to talk about it. So thank you guys. If you want to let people know where to follow you on the things, Ross.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you 2 different things. First of all, if you go to YouTube and you search DJ Rostar with 3 S's, there's 2 Green Day videos on there you'll want to watch. One is me playing guitar on stage with Green Day in 2005 when I got called up to do Knowledge. And the other one is my interview with Mike Dirnt, where I bombard him with fanboy questions for like 10 straight minutes. So those are both on YouTube, and they're fantastic. I did mention earlier that I did host a live web TV show for 15 years. Unfortunately, most of that content got deleted when the website I used to be on got deleted, but I do have a ton of videos on YouTube from back in the day. If you look up DJ Rostar, you can find me and Katy Perry. I have Skrillex on there. We've got some Warped Tour coverage, Pierce the Veil interview, some other bigger bands. If you want to add me on Instagram, it's at DJ Rostar, 3 S's. And I have a lot of throwback content on there. And if you go to my Reels, I did a whole 20 or 15 episodes during COVID where I did Instagram Live. So I have my interview up there with Get Up Kids, MXPX, Ataris, a couple other really cool bands. And now I'm doing a travel kind of video where I go around the Nashville area, within a 2.5 hour radius. Could be Alabama, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, or Tennessee. And I find really strange things that you wouldn't find in a travel guide. It could be a cave tour, could be an old castle, maybe a cool arcade or a toy museum. And I go and I do little 30-minute videos where I do some narration and show you where I'm at. And I call that Get Lost with Ross. So that's also on my Instagram. So
check out the show notes. We'll do a link to your YouTube in the show notes.
At DJ Rostar. Thank you.
That's awesome. So, hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed this. Look, this was a marathon, yes, but this was an iconic album that we needed to take the time to get through. So I think all of you guys are out there are going to enjoy this one because a lot of great stuff, a lot of great conversation about one of the biggest albums of all time from one of the biggest bands of all time in this genre or any genre, if you want to argue that. But, this is one, listen to it in parts, listen to it all together, but just listen to it because this is an album that we have all been waiting for on this show. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. If you want to check us out or want to give us some feedback on the show or on the High School Never Ends overall, check us out on Apple Podcasts. Give us a written review or a 5-star review. It really helps the show. And don't forget to visit our shop. It is the holidays. A lot of cool stuff on there. Anything from mugs to shirts to hats. We got it all. Visit our hub, www.hsnepod.com. That's going to link you to both of those things.
Yeah, man. And if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, which is Boxing Day, in just a few short days, Houston Calls is going to be playing a show. Tom, do you want to plug your show and your band and throw a thermal pod?
Hey, yeah, come out to the show if you're in Jersey, North Jersey. It's in Rutherford at the Williams Center, run by my friend Anthony LaSala, and he's putting on the show. And it's early November. Us and Hit the Lights. It's on New Year's Eve. We'll play second. We're gonna have some fun. I think it's an emo night as well, so they're gonna be doing karaoke and wild stuff, whatever that wacky world gets into, until midnight. And anyone that is listening and is a patron of the Patreon, I'll get you in for free if you contact me. If you're part of that and you want to get in, let me know. I think I Punkish Dad, Nick, I can't remember everybody else that you called out, but those are the two that come to mind that I know personally. So hope anyone can come out and see it. And yeah, follow us on Instagram if you want to see if anything comes of it. I do some stuff on the side. Steve that you called out, it's called Throw Thermal Pod. And it's just Throw Thermal Pod. You search that and you'll find me and other Tom Hanks big references that I love. And yeah, I'd love to connect with anyone that wants to talk about music.
Awesome. Thank you for the Patreon plug. Anybody who wants to join the Patreon, it's patreon.com/HSNE pod, like High School Never Ends pod. That's our thing on Instagram too. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. We are done with our 20 years later look back on 2004. We got something brand new coming next week, so make sure and tune in. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
Hey, thanks for listening to Dragon Wagon Radio. If you're enjoying this show, check out DragonWagonShop.com and get yourself some sweet merch while supporting your favorite indie podcast network. That's DragonWagonShop.com.
It's Dragon Wagon.